Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Aso, this is Aso Tarot, and in today's pick a card reading, we are going to be looking at what your person was thinking and feeling and experiencing the last time you saw each other. This is a love reading, technically. You can use it for any type of person, but you'll have to filter out the love messages. So with that being said, let's go ahead and look at what we are going to be covering. So to start, we have the energy check, which is going to represent the last meeting. The left side of the screen is going to represent you and your energy. The energy, they're going to be connecting cards, and that's going to represent the energy between you and this person during the last meeting. And then the right hand side of the screen will represent your person's energy and how they were showing up in this meeting. If the energies are flip-flopped here, I will say that I am going to be channeling from your person's perspective. So I don't know if you want to stick around to hear about yours, but that is what it will likely be if you resonate with the your person side. So I would definitely try and see if there's a pile where you are in the you side, but if you want to hear about yourself, go for it. And if worse comes to worse, you can always check out some of the older readings that I've done of this, if none of these resonate. But with that being said, if the last meeting checks out and it resonates, we're then going to move on to the tarot, and we're going to look at how they were perceiving you the last time they saw you, just overall in general. What was the vibe that they got from you? And then we're going to look at what they were thinking about you specifically, what they were feeling about you specifically, and how they thought this meeting went in hindsight. And as I'm talking about this, I feel like I might add a fifth question. I don't know though, but there's a part of me that feels like it's incomplete. But then after that, we're gonna look at guidance for you about this connection moving forward. Now, if that resonates and you are enjoying it, there is going to be an extended. And in this extended, we're gonna look at what's next for you and them and this connection. So we're gonna start by looking at what they're currently feeling about you. So in the free reading, we're looking at what they were feeling and thinking the last time they saw you. In the extended, we're gonna look at how they are feeling now and what their energy is towards you since this last meeting. Then we're gonna look at what their intentions are towards you currently. We're gonna look at any action that they plan to take, action that you should take for the best possible outcome between the two of you, and what is out of your control when it comes to this connection. We're also going to be looking at what the best possible outcome there is between the two of you for like the next 3 months. And when I say like action you should take for the best possible outcome, that is linking to like contributing to whatever the best possible outcome is for the two of you for like the next 3 months. So I'm trying not to go like too far out. This video is timeless, not to confuse you, but it's meant for you whenever you see it. The free reading is referencing the last time you saw one another, and the extended is going to be based in the present moment when you access the extended. So theoretically, you could watch this reading, it could resonate, and you could come back to it 2 days later and want to get the extended, which you should because it's affordable and I'm way more chaotic and unhinged. And those of you, my extended squad, know firsthand how much fun they are. But then we're going to finish off with any extra info, guidance from your spirit guides about this connection that they want to share. I'll leave it open for like any questions I kind of want to ask. And I feel like I'll probably end up adding channeled messages because I feel bad not, even though there's so much here. So yeah, with that being said, we've got a lot to get into, and this is a very, very juicy reading. So to start, we are going to be looking at the piles, the decks, and the stones that you have to choose from today. So starting with the first pile, pile 1, we are going to be using the Prism Tarot, and I have this aura-coded, I think it's Quartz moon on top. Then for pile 2, we are going to be using the Unofficial Adventure Time Tarot deck, and I have this Onyx elephant on top, which honestly just looks like Treetrunks. So this crystal is now known as Treetrunks. This is Treetrunks, the Onyx elephant. I love Treetrunks. And if you're watching this, who's your favorite Adventure Time character? I would love to hear. Then for pile 3, we are going to be using the Wizard's Tarot, and I have this piece of amber on top, and if you notice, there are even some bugs in it.
And then finally for pile 4, I think you're gonna have to get used to her because I'm probably gonna use her a lot. We're gonna be using the Trippin Waite Tarot, and I have this Bismuth alien head on top. So go ahead and pause the video if you need to decide which pile you feel most drawn to. It is absolutely okay to be drawn to more than one. That's why the energy check is there. It's quite possible that your perspective could be channeled in both sides. I haven't looked at anything yet, so it's as good a guess for you as it is for me. But with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and do the mini message now and make a wish. Stay tuned because there is a new candle coming to the collection soon. But if you guys are unaware, my most recent candle in my tarot collection is the star. So every tarot candle comes with its own mini tarot card, and the star also comes with its own mini star crystal. And there are like a bunch of different star crystals that you can get. So whatever tarot cards in here we will use for your mini reading, and we will also wish upon this star of a candle together. So, ooh, we have the 8 of Swords and an opalite star. Love to see it. We'll read this 8 of Swords in a moment, but let's go ahead and start by making our wish together. So if you would like to pause the screen and just set the intention that whatever you are wishing for is infused with the energy of this candle and infused with the other wonderful wishes that the other wonderful, incredible people of my intro squad are wishing on. I love all of you so much, and I just hope, one wish that I have is just for all of you to feel love today, to feel gratitude for something, and I just hope something good happens to you today. So I'm also just gonna make a little silent wish and continue to focus your intention. I said silent, but I can't shut my big mouth. And may your wish come true. I hope all of our wishes come true. And I just hope for healing and joy and just good vibes to reach us all. So, oh my God. Okay, that lighter just flew across the room. I did not mean to do that. But let's talk about this 8 of Swords. So this, oh my God, everything is flying about. Your brain may be a bit chaotic, my dear intro squad. With this 8 of Swords here, this is probably a sign that you are overthinking things and that you are making things unnecessarily complicated for yourself. This is such a mood because it has literally taken me hours to sit down and actually film this because, well, I've enjoyed the process of setting it up, but I overthink things too. It's easy to overthink things, but sometimes it's best to look at where maybe we are making things too complicated for ourselves. And I'm looking at this card, especially for you, as a sign that whatever it is that you're worried about and whatever it is that is stopping you from taking action is not a fear that's rooted in reality. It's a fear that's rooted in your own insecurities or negative assumptions. So I feel like this card is an encouragement to kind of get out of your head and pay attention to what's going through your head, and really question whether those things are true or not. I think it's really easy to not even realize how we can slip into like negative dialogues with ourselves or slip back into fearful mindsets, even if we do try to work very hard on being conscious with what's going on the inside, and we try to be positive and kind to ourselves. Like, you know, it's inevitable that at some point we're going to slip back into old programming. And I think for a lot of you, if you've been working on getting out of your head, oh my God, my throat chakra is going crazy. I definitely think that throat chakra clearing and healing could be good. So blue crystals, but also I think that, you know, if there's something that's stopping you from speaking up, I think you're really being encouraged to talk about that. And you know what, actually, let me finish this interpretation and I'm gonna have a little chat with y'all before we get into this. Overall, I feel like whatever you're worried about is less serious than you're making a mountain out of a molehill. And, you know, the difference between the 8 of Swords and the 9 of Swords is that the 8 of Swords is mental blockages that you can get out of.
I feel like you're really being encouraged to recognize that you're not trapped and that you are trapping yourself, and to ask yourself how your mentality is creating that, because from what I'm seeing here, it seems like you're creating a lot of stress and hardship for yourself because you refuse to, or not refuse, I don't know if you refuse or not, but because you're struggling to move through what this fearful mental energy is doing to you. Like, I guess I'm just saying, like, if you are feeling in a bad mental state, one, don't be afraid to ask for help, but two, you know, you can get out of it, and what you're feeling is not the truth. What you're thinking is not the truth. It's okay to think things that are dark or morbid or that scare you, but what's not okay is to allow yourself to believe that those are the truth, and that anything that doesn't make you feel good, uplifted, supported, encouraged, motivated, passionate, it's not the truth, and it's not the truth for you. So let it go and release it. But let's talk about this Eight of Swords in a context of me, because I was actually, I was like, I was thinking about talking to you guys today about this, but then I was like, no. As I was filming the intro, I was like, no, like, I don't want to, like, complain, but I feel this Eight of Swords energy really hard. This has kind of been my vibe for a while when it comes to making readings that I actually want to make and that I enjoy. Now, everything that I make, I do enjoy and want to make, but I want to give a big thank you to everyone who speaks up about wanting to see love readings like this and enjoying the love readings. I love doing all different types of readings, except for like career readings. I don't do those very often for a reason. I just kind of think they're boring with peace and love. I promise I'll do one this year, but like you're gonna get like one out of me and that's it. But I also have been holding back on making more love readings, and I feel like that's not because I want to stop making them, but because sometimes it takes a bit of a toll, like having a small portion of my healing reading audience come to these readings and like explicitly complain, and in other places explicitly complain about these readings, and I can't control that, and I accept that. Like, these aren't the readings for everyone, but you're clearly here, so these are the readings for you. And I just want to say, like, it is so helpful when you guys, one, like, tell me how much you love these readings, and two, like, talk about how much you enjoy them, because there's a very vocal small minority of people that are very loud about how much they don't like these readings, and it does like make me sad and kind of wear on me sometimes, because like I love doing these readings, and then I feel like I it's not that, like, my feelings are my own, like, and I'm not asking you guys to like feel bad for me, and don't be upset at these people doing this, because like everybody likes different things, and it's understandable, you know, that it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. But I love doing these readings so much, and they're so fun. And while I love doing healing readings, they can be very heavy, and I've felt a lot of pressure to kind of like conform to what some of y'all have been asking of me, which is like, well, I guess not really y'all, like, because even the people coming to complain about these readings, they're not going to even sit and watch the intro. They're just going to come and leave the comment and leave. But I just, like, I know that a lot of you guys really enjoy these readings and you don't really speak up about it, and that's totally valid and totally okay. But if you ever feel called to, like, it is so appreciated when you guys talk about wanting to see these. And I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I've been thrown to the wolves a little bit when it comes to dealing with the brunt of, you know, the people that are frustrated with those love readings. But like, you know, the only reason I feel some type of way about it is because I'm sad I can't make something that like everyone enjoys, which is impossible. But, you know, I am very grateful for those of you that speak up and say that like you want to see these readings, and I want to do more of these readings in 2024. I want to connect with you guys more, and I just want to make the things I actually enjoy instead of making things I feel pressured to make because I don't want to get flack. You know, I'm gonna get flack no matter what, but it definitely does make it a lot easier to deal with when, you know, the people that I am creating for speak up about how you enjoy it and appreciate it or want more of it. So just thank you guys to everyone who does that. And I guess it's just like, I feel like I can't ask anything of you. Like, you guys do so much for me, but you know, if you ever are wondering a way to like help me on a personal level and help me, you know, show up more and create more, like,
talking about how much you love these types of readings and asking for them and being more vocal would be really helpful, because I know there are a lot of you that do enjoy these. You just feel weird or ashamed about asking for them or wanting them, and that's stupid. There's nothing shameful about this, and not every single reading needs to be super deep. We can just have fun. There is healing and joy. There is healing and fun, and not everything has to be deep, intense shadow work. And I know that there are some people who really enjoy those readings, and I enjoy those readings too, but like I can't be doing those all the time. Like it's a lot. And I love reading about dynamics, and I love doing love readings, and I love, you know, just being here with you guys, and I love being able to make what makes me happy. And, you know, nobody's stopping me from making what makes me happy, but I've certainly been stopping myself because I've wanted to avoid just the kind of stress that I feel sometimes when I want to make something that really excites me, but then I'm like, no, are people going to be mad at me? Like, people are going to be mad at me no matter what. It's fine. And the vast majority of you aren't. Like, thank you so much. Like, you guys are so kind and supportive and understanding of me. And it's such a small group of people that really, like, are negative or, you know, complain. But, you know, the amount of people that complain about love readings is less small. And it's become something that has kind of started to annoy me, because it's like, tell me what you want, not what you don't want. Like, I know I can't please everyone. I know that. But that doesn't stop it from sometimes feeling like I'm putting my hand on a burning hot stove in order to do something that I enjoy making. So yeah, that's just my little rant, my little chat. Thank you for listening, and thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for speaking up on what you enjoy and what you want to see. Just pro tip in the future, if you want action from me, positive reinforcement is the best way to get there. I do wonders with positive reinforcement. But yeah, that's all I had to say. Thank you for existing. Thank you for being here. And thank you for letting me read for you. I promise, my love reading babies, I feel like I haven't been feeding you well enough, and I want to change that this year. So not that I don't love my healing. Like, I stand by every reading I've ever created. I love all the readings that I do, but I just wish I did more love readings in addition to the amount of healing readings I already do. So with that being said, I'm going to get into the reading now. I love you guys very, very much. Thank you for listening to this chat. Intro squad, let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what's going on. And if you don't want to let me know about that, let me know what's going on in your life. Like, is something cool, fun, exciting happening? I would love to hear. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into the readings now. I hope to catch some of y'all in the extended, and I will see you in your reading. Hi there, Pile 1. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the Aura Coded Quartz Moon, then this is going to be, and the Prism Tarot, then this is going to be your reading on what your person was thinking and feeling the last time they saw you. So we're going to go ahead and start by doing an energy check. It is my intention that these 4 cards on the left-hand side of the screen, which I think this is left, I hope that's left, I don't know, left from right, I do my best, is meant to be you. So to start with your energy, we have the Peacock, we have Intuition, we have Do You Even Care, and It Gets Better. These 2 cards are going to represent the energy between you and your person during this last meeting. So we have Glass Box, All Eyes on You, Scrutiny, Entrapment, Attention, and Sad Embrace. And then these cards are meant to represent your person and how and what their energy was the last time you saw each other. So they're showing up as the Butterfly, Now Is Not the Time, Whole, and Choice. Okay, I feel very shaky. So I wonder if this last meeting was very nerve-wracking for the both of you. It definitely doesn't seem like the last time you saw one another, it was intentional. Or if it was, it seems like, I don't know, I just get the vibe that first of all, whatever the situation was, the last time you saw each other, I do want to mention, it doesn't have to be in person, though if you are asking about that, you can specify that. But this could also be, especially with glass box and all eyes on you, this definitely could have been your person seeing you and maybe you were unaware of it. I am called to kind of notice that your card is facing away from your person and your person is looking at you. So I do feel like your person was more focused on you than you were on them. And I feel like that's either because they saw you on social media, and maybe you guys have been like stalking each other, or maybe you were in the same place. You know, if you are in the same environment as one another, there are definitely either other people around or you were seeing them through a platform that would be public. So with all eyes on you, I definitely think that there was more than enough room left for Jesus between the two of you for sure. And I feel like for you especially, let's start with your energy with this peacock vibe. First of all, like the peacock is everything. Like she slays. And like I felt this like weird energy shift in, I would say my heart, but it's kind of center left of my heart and more my upper boob. But I felt energy there, if that makes any sense. But anyway, I'm just being anatomically correct, using the correct word. It definitely seems like you were trying to avoid your person or trying to avoid like looking at your person or giving them attention. It seems like if you knew that they were focused on you or that they were looking at you, it seems like you were not trying to engage with them. There's an energy of you being very like proud and also, you know, being too proud to maybe take direct action towards this person. You also, I wouldn't be shocked if this meeting happened at night, whether it was online or in person. And I also wouldn't be shocked if you were either in some sort of like public area where you were dressed up and looked nice. Like I feel like you definitely looked nice. You looked really good. Like peacock obviously makes me think of peacocking, which is just, you know, dressing up really fancy or really outrageously or outrageously fancy. And so I definitely feel like you were looking good, dressed to the nines. And also, this song was actually playing in my head before I even started the reading, but Back to December by Taylor Swift was popping up in my head. And I kind of wonder if that song from maybe is coming from the perspective of the butterfly, because I feel like in your case, the reason why you weren't acknowledging this person was because you felt either scorned by them or I don't know what your reason was for kind of avoiding them, but I can feel that your avoidance of them was less about the fact that you didn't want to interact with them and more about the fact that you were too proud to interact with them. And the fact that we have It Gets Better here and this heart is kind of broken. I wonder if this person broke your heart in the past or really hurt you. And it seems like during this last meeting, you were trying to pick up on what their vibe was intuitively because they weren't really taking action towards you, it seems. Or if they were, it was very fickle and subtle. I can definitely see that there was a part of you that maybe really struggled with overthinking during this last meeting where you were like, wow, does this person even care? Like if they don't do this, then maybe they don't care. I feel like there was a part of you that was maybe surprised at this person's lack of action or surprised at the circumstances of your meeting in general or surprised that this interaction even happened. We'll come back to you, but I want to look at the energy between the two of you because it definitely seems like there has been a loss between the two of you, whatever that is, a loss of a relationship status. Ooh, I just got like major deja vu. That's really scary. I hate when that happens. You know when you see something that's like literally just a random image of a point in time in life in a dream? Like I had a dream about this like 2 years ago, like a really long time. I don't know how long, but a really long time ago. And I just like saw it. That's so eerie. Ooh. Anyway, maybe you dreamt about this person before you saw them. Maybe 2 years is a significant time frame. I don't know. But it seems like the last time you saw one another, there was kind of this, both of you were, one in your heads, both of you are showing up as air cards. And I think that you were definitely more so in an energy of like, you wanted to interact with the butterfly, but like on principle, you couldn't let yourself, whether it was pride or whether it's like you know, you felt like it would be disrespectful to yourself to interact with him, or if you were afraid of looking stupid. Like, there's definitely a part of you that was feeling very proud and like just trying to, I think, hold it together. And with this intuition card, I think you were honestly having a hard time figuring out what was going on and a hard time trusting what was going on. So I think there was a part of you that was like just trying to deal with this situation the best you could. I feel like you both were around other people, because with all these hands, I wonder if there were people that were helping take your mind off of it, or that were just helping support you through this. Because I definitely think whatever circumstances of your, whatever the meetings, I can't fucking talk. Well, I guess you guys couldn't talk then. I think that, and it's interesting too, because in your Hermit Tarot cards, which are incredible and you should totally get them, by the way, they're both in this blue. And not all the cards are like that. And, you know, blue is the color of truth. And I feel like there was a sadness from both of you that this interaction didn't yield more of a positive outcome, or that maybe both of you were sad at how the situation turned out, or the sadness that already existed between the two of you was kind of something that you both had to face and deal with during this last meeting. And part of dealing with that made both of you a little bit more reserved and a little less likely to interact. But I also think part of the reason why you weren't really interacting with each other was because of this glass box situation. So maybe in your case, for example, you didn't want to interact with your person more because maybe you'd get scrutiny for it, or maybe you were afraid of what people would think if you did interact with them. And I think your person was having the same fears, where they were afraid of maybe taking action and, you know, getting negative attention for it, or getting scrutiny from you, or being trapped in a situation where, you know, maybe you would like verbally ream them is something that I'm hearing, and they would just have to take it, or, you know, maybe this would turn into an argument and other people would see it. I definitely think though that your person has changed a lot, or is in the process of changing. And I'm not saying that, like, I don't know what the situation is between the two of you. I don't know what's gone down, but I definitely think that no matter what the semantics of your last meeting was, neither of you felt like you could be very authentic. I feel like both of you were kind of had masks up. And I think in your case especially, you were only showing like half of yourself, and it was definitely the more proud, I don't care, like, energy vibe to you. Like, you were definitely trying to show that you, like, this situation doesn't bother you, this person doesn't bother you, like, I'm not even focused on that. Like, but I think there was a part of you that was hurt that this person didn't take some sort of action towards you, or didn't initiate something. Now, your person's energy seems to be very interesting, because it seems like they considered doing something, especially with this choice, and now is not the time. But it seems like they decided against it, maybe because they felt like your vibe was unapproachable, or they were worried about, you know, what might happen if they did take action. But it definitely seems like you are picking up on the fact that your person is in a better place. And I will say, if this is getting confusing, because maybe for some of you, this person is coming up and you haven't seen them in person, or you haven't like looked at their social media, then I would say this person is coming up because they've been looking at yours. And maybe you've been feeling them on an intuitive level, or feeling like they've been healing. And I think that they have been, and they've been transforming, but they're definitely not anywhere near where you're at in terms of like, actually, I don't know. I feel like you both are on very different vibes right now. And I think in your person's case, they're kind of going through this messy transformation is the vibe that I get. And for some reason, I keep thinking of, not for some reason, the reason that I'm thinking of this is because I have excellent taste in TV, and this card combination, butterfly and hole, is making me think of the SpongeBob episode where there's the butterfly in the bubble, and it's like terrorizing everyone in Bikini Bottom because they don't know what a butterfly is. And I don't know, I think that's just an interesting analogy to think of. I used to hate that episode because like they do a close-up of a butterfly, and it makes this like bug noise, and it's kind of disturbing. They make a good case for why butterflies are kind of scary. And in your case, you may have been very afraid of interacting with them. Like, I definitely think there is a part of you that was afraid of confronting this situation, and I think your person was as well. It seems like they have been moving forward in a better direction, and I also think that they're in a much better place since whatever transpired between the two of you. But I definitely think that your person was just as much in their head and was equally as sad about this situation. I definitely think that there's unresolved issues or unresolved feelings or unresolved conflict or just unresolved history that the both of you are hoping, or that the both of you, like, no matter what, I can tell that neither of you wanted whatever happened to happen the way that it did, or neither one of you want to be on bad terms with the other, is the vibe that I'm getting. But I think there's a lot of guilt on your person's end, in this butterfly energy of, you know, presenting in an energy that's more whole and being more put together, because I think as they've been growing, they've maybe realized how their distortion in the past maybe hurt you. And I think that your person was really thought a lot about making some sort of move or taking some sort of action, but I think they chose not to. And I think that choice you may have picked up on intuitively, and there could have been a part of you that was really hurt by that, or maybe not intuitively, maybe literally this person had ample opportunity to take some sort of action towards you and they didn't, and you didn't take any action towards them. And so and now I'm hearing another Taylor Swift song, The Story of Us, where she's like, now I'm sitting alone in a crowded room and we're not speaking, and I'm dying to know, is it killing you like it's killing me? The Swifties must be in this pile. Love you guys. But I definitely think that you could cut the tension with a knife for sure, but if an outside party didn't know the two of you, didn't know your history, they would have had no idea this whole, like, energetic exchange was happening. I feel like both of you were really bummed with however this meeting ended, but I think there was an acceptance on both of your ends. And in your case, I think the acceptance was like, well, I wasn't expecting much anyway, and on their end, it's like, I could have done something, but I didn't. So if that resonates, we're going to go ahead and get into your tarot now. But while I'm shuffling, I will say, if you are interested, you should 100% check out the extended. I go above and beyond in my extendeds, and we have a lot of fun over there. If you think I'm chaotic and vulgar here, you should check me out over there. So if you're enjoying that, feel free to check that out. But I understand, you know, extendeds cost money, so if you want to support me in free ways, liking the video, commenting down below, subscribing, those are all super helpful. Also, checking out my candles, well, that is a money spending thing, but you can help pay me by just letting the ads play in the background while you do something else. Fun fact. And if you have YouTube Premium, which if you can afford it, I think is really worth it, I get paid no matter what, like, and you get no ads. But YouTube Premium is, like, insanely expensive, so I don't blame a lot of you for not getting it. It's kind of frustrating that they don't price it down, because it really is, like, I could not watch YouTube if I didn't have YouTube Premium. I would go crazy. I will go above and beyond to not be advertised to. So I don't blame you guys for hating it, but that's what allows me to do this. So anyway, we're going to start by looking at how your person was perceiving you overall. So how did pile one's person perceive pile one during their last meeting? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The five of cups, loss. They definitely were feeling the pain of, like, the loss of you. I definitely think that whatever has occurred between the two of you, they were not, maybe if seeing you, whether in person or online, like, maybe just you know, having you in their face was something that they were able to, like, push out of their mind, and then once you were in front of their face, it's like they couldn't anymore. And I think there is a part of them too. I'm hearing Lose You to Love Me by Selena Gomez, so I don't know if one or both of you, like, I don't know if the decision to, like, part ways was because of needing to love one another, but I do think in your case especially, there is a part of you that maybe doesn't even want to show your person that you're bothered by the loss of them. I think there's like a sad acceptance of what has occurred between the two of you, and I think that in your person's case, they felt sad, and they I think they were reflecting a lot on your past, and I also think that they could pick up on intuitively that you were sad as well, and I think that was something that frustrated them even more, that they didn't take action. But I do think that this person felt like it wasn't the right time to take action, and depending on when the time was, like if one or both of you were inebriated, like that also can play a role. But I definitely think that they were perceiving the situation as sad, and they were perceiving you as seeming sad but not really showing it, and I feel like they were wondering if you were sad. And what's really interesting too is we have like these eyes here, and like on your card and on the glass box and on loss, and I feel like they were definitely intuitively, I think that they felt like they should say or do something, but either the shame or the fear of confronting you or confronting the situation stopped them from doing that. And I think they could feel your disappointment, especially if you guys were in the same environment. But I also think that they were feeling that way themselves, and I think there is a part of them that was really having a hard time focusing on what was going on around them because they were focused on this loss. And I also think that they like, even in their perception of you, it's very self-focused. Like, while they could tell that you were disappointed, I think they were also disappointed, and I think they even saw that the last interaction with you or the last meeting with you as a missed opportunity. I also think that they perceived you as something that's not theirs anymore, or something that's not a part of their life in the way that they used to be. And I think that they were just looking at what they lost. And I think you looked very beautiful. And I also think that if you cried at all, they may have known about that, or they may have felt like that was their fault, which, like, it probably was. But I think there was a part of them that just felt really bad about, like, they were just sad. Like, they were sad seeing you, and they were sad about the situation. And if this was like a party or something, for example, like, they couldn't really focus on what was going on around them because they were just sad. And I think both of you had this kind of vibe of like, oh, well, this is really sad. And the fact that the moon, we have this full moon here. Full moons are all about release and release of emotion. So I wouldn't be shocked if both of you kept your cool around one another, but later had like emotional reactions, because both of you were definitely in your heads during this interaction. But what was Pile 1's person thinking about Pile 1 during this last interaction? We have the Page of Pentacles with skill development. So I definitely think more than anything, they were curious about what was going on with you. What were you up to? I also think that they were wondering if you would notice the growth that they had gone through. I feel like your person, the butterfly person, is trying really hard to improve themselves. But I also think that one thing that they were thinking about is the fact that both of you have needed to grow as people, and that is something that they have been very intent and very focused on. I also think that with this Page of Pentacles here, they were acutely aware of the fact that even though they've grown a lot, they still feel inhibited when it comes to acting the way they envision that, like taking the action they envision themselves taking the action they want to take. I feel like your person was thinking a lot about how they're still a work in progress. And I also think that they were thinking about the fact that you seem to be doing better. And I think that overall there was just kind of this curiosity of like what you're up to, and a curiosity of like where you were standing. Like I think that they were, or maybe I don't know why I'm getting the vibe that that's almost literal. Like, who were you interacting with? Maybe too, if you were showing up at their job or them yours, they could have been like thinking about you working or thinking about you being at their work, whatever it may be. I definitely think what they were thinking about, though, they were trying not to overthink it. I think if anything, they were reflecting on the past and also reflecting on what they've learned since they saw you last. And I also think that they were considering what if any action they should take towards you. And I think that based on however they've grown, they decided that the best thing to do would be to not put more pressure on the situation and not take action. Whether that was really the right thing to do or not, I don't know, but that's what they felt was the right thing to do. So what were they feeling towards pile 1 during this last interaction? The Lovers, yeah, okay. They were definitely missing you. Like, they were feeling the connection between the two of you for sure. But I also think with this Lovers card, you know, the duality, I think that if this was a different reading and different energies, I would interpret this Lovers a lot more positively. But if I'm being honest, the vibe that I'm getting from this Lovers, which first of all, the Lovers represents Gemini energy, and both of you are showing up in air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. You don't have to be, you don't have to have those placements, but that could be confirmation for those of you, or you and your person could have like the same element in your sun or your moon or something like that. But anyway, with the Lovers card being here, I definitely think that your person was not only reflecting on their connection with you, but I also think that they were reflecting on the blessing and the curse that comes from love and life and sharing that with a person. But duality here, I feel like your person definitely, and I think this makes sense especially with I feel like your person had like cotton mouth or something the night that they saw you. Like, I'm so thirsty. And maybe they were really thirsty that night and they didn't want to admit that. But I definitely think with the Lovers card being here, it's like they were on one hand very conscious of the connection that still exists between the two of you, but on the other, they were acknowledging like whatever has happened between the two of you happened for a reason. And I think whatever happened between the two of you showed the both of you that you both need to learn to be more loving towards yourselves and learn to be more loving in your interactions with each other and learn to love your own darkness so that you don't project it on the other. I feel like your person was not only reflecting on the past, but also reflecting on maybe the tough choices that they've had to make in order to choose themselves. And like, once again, I'm hearing lose you to love me in my head. And I feel like this person really felt like, for whatever reason, you know, in order to love themselves, they needed to step away from you or step away from this, or maybe you made that choice and they were reflecting on that. More than anything, they still felt a lot of love for you. But I also think they were feeling all of the unresolved emotions, all of the unresolved emotions they haven't dealt with, all of the insecurities you brought out in them, all of the nostalgia and past energy that they had been maybe suppressing. There was a lot going on, but I think more than anything as well, they were trying not to delve too deeply into this. Like I feel like your person more than anything was feeling love for you, and I think that they felt whole in the sense that maybe in the past they relied on you to make them whole. And seeing you in person, even though they're very sad about what's happened between the two of you, they were like, well, at least I've grown a lot and I've shown myself more love because I feel more whole. But I think there is a part of them that doesn't feel whole with you not in their life. Like, I do feel like they miss you. But I think in terms of what they were feeling, they were feeling the bittersweetness that comes with, you know, having a special connection with someone and losing that, having a special connection with someone and it not working out, or you guys not being on the right wavelength. I definitely think that they more than anything were just trying to do the best they could with the knowledge they had. And I think that this person has grown a lot in the sense that I don't know if they were always the best towards you, and I don't know if they were always the most loving towards you, and I think that's because they couldn't be that way towards themselves either. And so I think when they saw you last, they were feeling the unspoken energy between the two of you, but I also think that they were reflecting on how your connection has taught, like what your connection has taught them about love, what your connection has taught them about themselves, and where they've tried to be better. And I also think that they were just very what's the right word? They were a bit perturbed by seeing you. I don't know if it was because you weren't planning on seeing each other or they weren't anticipating it, but I feel like there was definitely a bittersweetness to seeing you. Like, the challenging feelings that come with, turbulent interactions with someone that you love. Because I think no matter what, like now I'm hearing Grimes in my head, like Player of Games, when she sings, like, if I loved him any less, I'd make him stay. Like, I think that both of you have this energy of knowing that whatever occurred for the both of you, it was for the best, or it needed to happen. And I think that your person was maybe reflecting on just the bittersweetness of all of it. And also, I think that the last time they saw you, I think one thing that they realized is that they do still love you and that they care about you very deeply. Whether or not they are in love with you still, I don't know. Because one thing about Gemini energy is that it stays on the surface. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm a Gemini and I'm super deep. I'm sure you have other placements that bring a lot of depth to you, okay? I love the Geminis. Y'all are so much fun. But Gemini energy can just stay on the surface and be super entertained by it. That's part of Gemini energy. It bounces off of itself. It's really wonderful. But I think your person was not trying to go too deep into what they were feeling in the moment. But I do think that they were reflecting later, like on a more deep level, like on a heart and soul level later, on like how that interaction, like how that last interaction, whatever it was, how that made them feel. And I think that they were also really just, like, the word bittersweet just comes to mind. They were reflecting on that a lot. So now I want to see how they thought the meeting went in hindsight. How did they think the meeting went in hindsight? We have the Two of Pentacles, priorities. I feel like, once again, I think that they're kind of mixed on how they feel about it. They knew they could have taken action, and it even mirrors this choice card. And they chose what they thought they had to. And it's actually really interesting because it seems like, considering this is thoughts, I wonder if they were thinking about taking some sort of action towards you, but they felt they weren't ready for it, or they felt they didn't have room for it, or they felt they would be scrutinized for it, or something like that. It also kind of seems like the both of you were blocked from interacting with one another for some reason. I definitely think overall they accept their lack of what they could have done, but I think there is a part of them that's like, yeah, but I could have done this. But I think they accept that they did what they did, and I also think that they accept the lack of what they did, and I think that they also accept, like, that night was a reflection of where their priorities are at and what is important to them right now. I definitely think, though, they haven't really fully processed this night. I think that there's actually a lot of unresolved energy from this last meeting, and I'm saying night, so it was likely night for a lot of you. I feel like they have a lot of reflecting to do still about that they haven't done, because they're either very busy, or I do think part of what they were thinking about is that they wanted to show you that they were doing better. That was very important to them. They wanted to show you that they were, maturing and improving, and they wanted to impress you, but I feel like
they were very afraid of like having your attention and being criticized by you. But I want to see, I only wrote down 4 questions, and I feel like I need to ask 5. And the question that I want to ask for you guys is, what action were they contemplating taking that they didn't? What action were they contemplating taking towards pile 1 that they didn't? Spirit. The Apprentice of Gems. Efficiency. Well, shit. Now I don't remember if... Okay, Novice is Page, Apprentice is Knight. I definitely think that they were actually... Well, and bottom of the deck is the Page of Cups with play. I feel like they were considering maybe... Okay, I get it. So you know how in this card, in the Page of Pentacles, the hand's holding it like this, but in the Apprentice of Gems, they're holding it like Matilda style, with like, I don't know, hand magic or some shit. I feel like they were contemplating interacting with you in a more like, I don't know if they would have done much more than they did, which I don't think was a whole lot, but I do think they had contemplated if they were going to converse with you for a set amount of time. I feel like if they were going to take action, it was going to be something to accomplish a goal of theirs. And I think whatever their goal was, it was to either show you something about how they were feeling, like, or show you that they're doing better, or prove to you about how they've grown or how they've matured or how they've evolved. I also think with the Knight of Pentacles, though, I think that really, and it's interesting because I wasn't really picking up on this until this card, I feel like they were really putting the onus on you in the sense that they're like, well, if they want to talk to me, they'll come up to me. If they want to, you know, interact with me, they'll do that. And I think that they were almost hoping that they didn't have to create a situation where they interacted with you. And I think they were thinking about doing that, but one thing that you both were mirroring was pride. And I think that they were too proud to do that. And they wanted the situation for like the two of you to interact to happen organically and naturally and be out of their hands. I think that they were hoping for that to happen and it didn't. And I think that they were kind of assuming that if the situation didn't fall in their hands, then it wouldn't happen, or that it wasn't meant to happen. And I kind of disagree with that. Like, maybe I was giving your person too much credit and thinking that they were considering all of the different options of what to do. I think actually this card kind of confirms that they were putting it more so on you, like, well, your lack of interaction or you ignoring them or you not interacting with them very much is a choice in of itself. So I do think that they were focused on, if they were going to take action, they want it to be consistent with whatever they've already told you, or consistent with their growth. But I feel like they were afraid to take action and make things worse than they already are, or take action and look stupid. With this efficiency being a word here, I feel like your person was trying to be pragmatic in their approach with you. And I feel like there was a part of them that maybe was reflecting on the fact that them taking action based on emotion or impulse isn't always the most effective approach. And so I think because your person didn't feel comfortable and didn't feel inspired to take some sort of practical steps, they decided to not take any steps at all. It was like, well, it's easy to do nothing. I feel like if they would have taken action, it would have taken them a while and they would have had to work up to it and build up some courage. And I think that there was a part of them that maybe wanted to create more space to open up the opportunity to interact, but they were wanting you to be the one that did that. And because you were not seemingly receptive to that, they just kind of accepted. They're like, oh, well, they made their choice, which is like kind of crazy, because I want to like talk to your person and be like, you do realize you made a choice as well. Like, this is on both of y'all. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and finish off this part of the reading before we move over to the extended with some guidance for you when it comes to this situation. But if you are interested in the extended, we're going to be looking at this person's current feelings towards you, what's next, all that good jazz. So that'll be linked down below. But going ahead and looking at your advice now, we have surrender to complete healing, open fully to the loving, compassionate forces of the universe that support your physical, emotional, and spiritual healing. I definitely think that whatever occurred between the two of you was meant to help both of you learn to love yourselves more. And I know that's like a cliche, but you know, love can exist and not be enough. You know, you can love someone and not, and it not like right person, wrong time is a thing. You can love someone very much and things can like not work out. And I think, you know, that's the hard thing is sometimes, you know, we do our best and our best isn't enough, or sometimes, you know, we put our all into something and it doesn't work out. And I think the universe is really encouraging you to continue surrendering to like healing and the loving forces of the universe, because there's a lot of beautiful things the universe wants to bring your way. And I think part of you is hesitant and resistant because maybe you're afraid it'll mirror a situation like this, or maybe you haven't done all of the healing from this situation, which like, I don't think you need to be completely healed from this situation to move forward, but at the very least where you can forgive yourself and forgive what happened. And I'm not saying you need to forgive this person for anything, but at the very least, like, forgiveness is what sets you free. Just forgiving the situation for yourself, for your own peace of mind, could be helpful. But let's see what lesson in love could be useful. Kindness. You are a humanitarian made of love, and you are able to share that energy with others. So I definitely think that maybe you need to share some kindness with yourself. If you are being really hard on yourself, I think that could be a sign of where you need more love, and what parts of you specifically need that love. But I also think, though, with this kindness card, I think that you deserve to treat yourself with more kindness. And I think that if you're beating yourself up for this situation or your past with them, that you deserve to extend more grace towards yourself and recognize that, like, there's a lot of kind, loving things that want to come into your world that maybe you're holding back on because you're afraid of, you know, the negatives. But I really do feel like there are beautiful things that want to come into your world that will show you great kindness, that will show you, you know, just how loved you are. But you may be holding back out of fear. And so I think the universe is asking you to start by being kind to yourself and have compassion for, you know, the fear to let something in, and have compassion for the fact that doesn't come from a place of you just wanting to torture yourself. Like, it comes from a place of being wounded and being afraid to, you know, open yourself up to more bullshit. But like, life is full of bullshit. It's also full of really wonderful things, though. And the wonderful things make the bullshit easier to deal with. And the bullshit is a great reminder of how awesome the wonderful things are. Anyway, we also have patience. So I definitely think, too, if there's a part of you that feels like you and this person aren't over, or feels like, you know, or wonders if what is meant to happen here, I feel like the universe is really asking you to be patient with yourself and patient with this situation, because I feel like time is always the biggest indicator whether something is meant to come around, and we can't always know that, you know. I definitely think that when it comes to answers about what is meant to happen between the two of you, one, I think it could be different based on who's watching this, but, you know, we are going to look at like the next 3 months in the extended, so we will see like what will be shifting then. But if you're only checking out the free reading, which is totally fine, thank you for being here, you could, if you're wondering, like, if you're wanting answers, I think Spirit is really encouraging you to be patient with those and be patient with yourself in the process, because I definitely feel like there are a lot of things that haven't been revealed to you quite yet, because Spirit wants you to look at them from a more solid place. What, like, I think there's some healing that's necessary to your own, like, self-esteem or self-worth, that integrating that healing is going to bring about the foundation necessary to get answers, either about this connection or about whatever it is that you've been seeking. Even if it's not about this person, I feel like if you've been like craving answers from the universe and you feel like the universe is just really tight-lipped about it, I think it's because it's just not time yet for you to know something, and when you're meant to know it, you will. And I know that's frustrating, but you're really just being encouraged to be patient with yourself and try not to force any answers if you don't have them yet, and try not to force an outcome or force a situation. Let things flow. And here's another thing, like, time is a great healer of wounds. So you don't even need to necessarily do anything to heal, but just give things time. Accept what has been, accept where you're at, and accept the fact that you're no less deserving of love, of kindness, of good things in the world just because of the ups and downs you've had. in your life. You know, it's just part of what makes us human. And finally, we have nothing is yet set in stone. So I feel like that is a very positive and powerful sign that whatever is meant to occur with this person in the future, I think is a mutual creation. Like, I'm hearing the queen herself, Natasha Bedingfield, singing Unwritten in my head. And I really think Spirit is saying, like, how you feel about this connection and this situation will be part of what dictates what actually happens here. Like, nothing is here set in stone. Like, there's no saying that you guys will ever interact again, and there's also no saying that you guys will never interact again. Like, the future is definitely something you both are meant to create, and I think that Spirit is asking you to be patient with the assumptions you make about this connection, and be patient with what you come to understand about how you come to see the connection. It's okay to not know why this connection is still in your life or why you haven't let go of it yet. You don't have to force an answer, and maybe forcing an answer could create unnecessary stress. I think you're meant to just let go and trust that your heart will reveal the answers that you need in time. But also, through this process of heart healing, I hope that you start to also recognize where you can already be kinder to yourself, and also where you can start to say with more confidence, like, what you want out of life, like what you do want to be in your future, what you do want to experience. Like, I think recognizing that the universe can deliver those things and being patient with the process of, like, their guidance to get there, I think that will be, like, something that will bring you a lot of comfort. And the more you're focused on, you know, the things that you can control, the less your monkey mind will be able to, like, get you swept away in fear. But I do think that what you actually, I know that what you genuinely want and what your heart wants does play a role in how this connection manifests in the future and how your future unfolds. So one thing that Spirit is saying is that if you feel emotions that conflict with what your heart feels, take the time you need to work through that and grow and heal it and take that space. But you don't have to make hard and fast decisions on what to do or what is going to happen or what this connection is. You don't need to do anything other than focus on being kind to yourself, be patient with yourself, and be more open to healing. Because I think the version of you that's moved through more of this emotional pain, I think, is going to have a better handle on what action is in alignment with you and what truth resonates for you. And based on that truth, you'll be able to take action and embrace the unknown a lot easier, because you'll be able to trust that the universe brought you to these conclusions for a reason, and that these conclusions are in your heart for a reason. So then you can kind of trust in the unknown more, because you've worked through a lot of doubt that would maybe get in the way of you trusting yourself more. So pile 1, that is where I'm going to leave this reading. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background, because that is one of the simplest and easiest ways to support me. But if you'd like to support me in other ways, liking the video, commenting, subscribing, all of that jazz is super helpful. Turn on notifications. Shout out to my notification squad and my intro squad and my extended squad. If you want to be part of my extended squad, the extended will be linked down below. You can check out my candles. Be sure to use code ASO10 for 10% off if you are interested on the tarot candles or any candles on Angelic Magic 88's site. You can check out my merch. You can check out my Instagram or any of my other videos. But that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for letting me read for you. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose Treetrunks, the Onyx Elephant, and if you chose the Totally Unofficial Adventure Time Tarot, this is going to be your reading on the last time you saw your person. What were they thinking? What were they feeling? What was happening? So to make sure that this is your reading, we're going to start by doing the energy check. And if you want a full breakdown of the reading, check out the intro. But it is my intention for these cards and the left-hand side of the screen to represent you and your energy during this night. So let's start by looking at that. So to start, we have the Black Egg. We have Soften. We have Your Family Won't Like Me. And we have Fear. Then these two cards are representing the energy between the two of you during this meeting / the energy of the meeting itself.
So we have ego trap, check yourself, ego, judgmental thinking, superiority complex, and we have golden palace. And then finally, your person's energy during this last meeting is the swan. I'm ready. Flow. And this is spirit, but in my head, my brain just always goes spirit. So technically spirit, but unofficially spirit. Okay, wow. This is so interesting and powerful. Power is definitely a theme for this group. What I do want to say before I start is, if what I'm describing as you sounds like your person and it's flip-flopped, feel free to try a different pile first and see if your energy shows up elsewhere in the you side, because that will be the one that reflects your person's energy. So just moving forward, this side, the black egg side, is you. The swan side is your person. These cards are down the middle. Okay, let's start. There's so many cool synchronicities here, and the semantics of your last meeting, I think, would be very interesting because they could be very different, but it really doesn't matter what the semantics were, because the last meeting that you had with this person seems to be quite powerful and very important on a spiritual level for you, because you're showing up in a spirit card, and this one specifically, the black egg, is representative of the throat chakra and truth. So I definitely feel like whatever this happened during this last meeting, there was a lot of powerful truth that you experienced. And I feel like in the midst of that truth, there was also the distortions that you believe to be true about yourself, so this ego, were at odds with this more empowering truth that was coming to you. I definitely feel like you were more reserved during this last meeting than your person. I should also stress, this last meeting doesn't have to be in person, though I feel like for some of you, for a lot of you actually, it was. But if not, it certainly doesn't have to be. Anyway, I'm not gonna try to confuse you further. I'm just gonna keep going and stop. Well, I'm not gonna stop yapping. I'm just gonna start yapping about what I'm channeling. I definitely feel like you were more reserved and more obviously anxious and fearful during this meeting. But I feel like whatever truths that were affecting you on a soul level, those helped soften you to the energy that you were experiencing during this last meeting. I definitely feel like a lot of your fear came from the fact that you were judging yourself very harshly. I also think that you are viewing your person in a very wonderful, beautiful light. That's not inaccurate, it's truthful. In fact, I think your person's truth was so powerful that it started to shed light on where your distortions were. You know, that's why we have this ego trap. And I want to mention, like, your person was dealing with this energy too, so don't think that this was one-sided. But for you, I think that this was especially powerful because if you think about it, you know, an egg, you know, do swans lay eggs? I'm pretty sure. Like, it's a bird. Birds lay eggs. So I said that, and then I heard, like, except for D, and then it just made me think of It's Always Sunny and that joke that they call Caitlin Reynolds a bird. Anyway, maybe It's Always Sunny is significant, or maybe this meeting was in Philadelphia, or maybe it was sunny when the last time you saw them. I am also filming during the daytime, which is very rare for me, especially in winter, so could be significant. But in your case, I definitely think you were judging yourself very harshly. And I wonder where you were at with the swan person, because with the golden palace here, I actually want to read it to you because I think it'll do it more justice than me sitting here and trying to explain it. Golden Palace, there is always enough. The Golden Palace card represents good fortune, ambitions fulfilled, wealth, and prosperity. It may also indicate emotional fulfillment, as perhaps you're entering a time of happiness that's long overdue. So one thing I do think that was happening during this last meeting is there was some sort of, like,
wealth, fortune, ambitions being brought to the surface. With the Golden Palace here, I wonder if you both were like in a fancy place. For some of you, I'm getting the vibe like maybe you were meeting the Swan's family, especially because like we have here like your family won't like me, and the Golden Palace, you know, maybe the Swan is from like an affluent family, or maybe the Swan has done well for themselves. So if you were at their house, maybe you were judging yourself. But this is a lot deeper than that. And it may also indicate emotional fulfillment. I think one of the things happening in this last meeting was both of you were feeling emotionally fulfilled and very happy about this meeting. And your person is indicating that very much so, because one, they're showing up in a watery energy, and this watery energy is quite evolved. It's very intuitive, it's creative, it's mystical, and I definitely feel like whoever this person is, you've seen them go through some sort of transformation. And if you think about it, when the egg is when a bird is hatching out of an egg, it doesn't start out as, it doesn't go from egg to swan. There's an evolution. And obviously there's the story of the ugly duckling, so to speak, that turns into the beautiful swan. And I feel like whatever happened, the last meeting that you had with your person started to wake you up to this truth that you and your person are not as separate as you believe yourselves to be, and not as different as you believe yourselves to be. I feel like if you viewed your person as inaccessible or above you or better than you in any way, this last meeting proved to you that that's actually not the case, and that you're much more similar than you realize, and that the Swan person clearly has tapped into truths that are coming to you now, or that have been coming to you. I'm definitely very curious to know, as I'm looking at your energy, whatever distortions you were unable to release the last time you saw them, I think this reading is going to help disperse those. But anyway, the message here is that self-worth isn't measured by what you have, no matter how abundant your life is. And I do think that the concept of abundance was really important here. And I think that there was a sense of abundance when you both were hanging out with one another, whether that's because there was just a lot of good energy, a lot of good vibes. Maybe there was like an abundance of energy or like an abundance of time that you spent together. With the Golden Palace here, I just feel like the vibes were really good. And I think actually the both of you were having a really lovely time and having a very emotionally fulfilling time. And I think that this was also very powerful because the both of you were having to check your egos during this process. Like both of you, I'll get there. It said it comes from what you are, how authentically you're living your life, and how much love you're willing to share. And I think that there was a lot of love being shared here, and it doesn't have to be romantic, though it could be. Like I feel like there's just a lot of good vibes here that the both of you were aware of. But I think in your case, I think that in terms of discovering what your truth is and knowing what is real and true for you, I think that the Swan has been a bit of an intimidating presence for you in your life, because I think there is a part of you that has believed deep down you're not good enough for the Swan. That deep down, you know, the Swan deserves better and you're just an egg. And I feel like literally during this last meeting, you were in your shell. You were feeling very like vulnerable and fragile, and I definitely think that caused you to be more reserved. But I think that the Swan's energy is something that kind of helped you relax and soften. And I love that even this softened card is kind of like an egg, almost like melting a little bit. And I think it's interesting too that we all have all these eyes with fear, and then all of these little dots. Like actually, honestly, they kind of look more like boobs, but they could be eyes too. I feel like you may have been afraid that you were not good enough, that you were being judged. If the Swan's family was around, maybe you were worried that they would see that you're not good enough, or that like you wouldn't make a good impression. This doesn't have to even be family though. Like it could be friends, it could be just this idea of like, oh, the people that you hang out with, like they wouldn't like me. And I don't think that's true. I definitely think that one thing interfering with the both of you being able to connect during this last meeting was the fact that, one,
you were definitely very much in your shell still. And 2, you were in this vibe of almost like this external other was preventing you from having tunnel vision on what this truth was trying to show you. But then again, it was meant to be that way, because if you look at this ego trap, one thing that I think is really interesting is, 1, how similar it looks to the Black Egg card, and 2, the fact that like there's almost this portal of truth in the middle, in the center, that looks like this spirit energy. And I think that during this last meeting, I think that there are a lot of instances where you maybe started to realize what you were perceiving as a sign that you weren't good enough, or a sign that, you know, the swan doesn't like you, or a sign that, you know, you and the swan can't work out, or that you and the swan are too different, or that you're not good enough. I think this past meeting made you realize that, you know, your ego has likely been preventing you from being more open to spending time with the swan, or being more open to connecting with the swan, because there is this assumption that you're, for whatever reason, you're not good enough, or that the swan is better than you, or that I feel like your ego fears around not being good enough, about not being worthy, about being rejected by the swan, were certainly getting it in the way of your ability to connect. But what is really awesome is that didn't stop you from connecting. I think you both still had a very lovely time. And I also think that, which we'll look at that in the tarot, but with the Black Egg being here as well, I feel like you weren't revealing a whole lot. And so the swan was being affected by this ego energy as well. But there's this interesting dichotomy of the both of you having a really lovely time together, and whoever was with you. But the both of you were a bit inhibited with connecting as authentically as you could have, because what the light and like the beautiful abundant energy that was being shared between the two of you was doing was shedding awareness on the parts of yourselves that stop the both of you from being more open, being more authentic, and just kind of stepping into the flow of this connection and believing that you both are good enough. I feel like, let me finish reading this. I've been holding this for like 20 years. Granted, receiving this card does, where should we go back? The message here is that self-worth isn't measured by what you have, no matter how abundant your life is. And part of me wonders if you feel like the swan is more abundant than you, then maybe you feel like yourself, like you're not good enough because you don't have as much as them, or something like that. Instead, it comes from what you are, how authentically you're living your life, and how much love you're willing to share. Granted, receiving this card does indicate material gain and a furthering of tangible rewards, but things come and go, and knowing your true value leads to greater riches now. Share the wealth. And so this is what I think is so important about this night, is I think that you had a powerful realization that you and the swan are not fundamentally different. That in fact, you're cut from the same cloth, and that the swan has just grounded more of this truth and awareness around like abundance, around fulfillment, around embodying authenticity, about sharing that. And I feel like the swan has gone through more of a deeper like emotional transformation. And I think that you're in the process right now, or at least during this last meeting, you were coming to the awareness of these certain truths that, oh no, the swan isn't judging me. The swan doesn't think I'm not good enough. I don't think I'm good enough. I don't feel like I'm worthy. And I think you were starting to realize, like, maybe if you had this idea that you thought that the swan thought they were better than you, or that you had to prove your worth to the swan, maybe you realized that during this meeting that they really, whatever the things that you thought they would judge you for, or whatever things you thought made you not good enough, you realize that those things are not even things that the swan cares about. And that in fact, a lot of their abundance and a lot of the abundance that existed between the two of you had nothing to do with your outer surroundings, but rather had everything to do with the wonderful like connection you were sharing, and the wonderful time you were having together, and just the abundance of what it seems like joy was here. I think that your person maybe was able to embrace joy during this meeting more so than you were, but that's only because you were fighting more of the
more of the demons, let's say. Like, I think it's really interesting how the swan kind of has this realized aura around them, whereas in your case, there's only darkness surrounding the egg. And so I think there was a part of you that was simultaneously like becoming aware of maybe distortions you had about your value and about your worth as you're interacting with the swan, and then also realizing like, oh wow, like maybe I can do more than I thought. Like, it just seems like whatever happened between the two of you made you realize that like whatever you're afraid of and whatever fears that you have had that have prevented you from being more open to this connection in the past, or being more open to the swan in the past, this last meeting made you realize that like the things that were in your way, oh, I think Bulbasaur is kind of, I hope that's better. The things that were in your way were not true obstacles, but rather obstacles about your self-worth that made you believe that what's worth even facing the swan, what's worth even connecting with the swan, because they're just going to reject me anyway. And I think that you had to face this kind of hard truth of like, oh wow, a lot of the things that I believe about myself and maybe believe about the swan and believe about like others in general maybe aren't true. I think the swan was kind of a very graceful example for you of how you can be yourself and how much abundance lies in that. Now let's talk about the swan, because one thing that I don't think that you picked up on during this last meeting is the fact that the swan was also dealing with ego issues. They also were dealing with feeling like they weren't good enough. And I think that the swan was really not letting that get the best of them. Because here's what's so interesting. You know, I love this card because I'm pretty sure this swan is the only card in the deck where the animal has like a mirror reflection. And I feel like one thing that maybe you realized is that some of the truths that you may have been discovering is that like they weren't accurate perceptions of the swan. They were rather just the reflection of the shadow you were projecting onto the swan. But the swan was not like super disturbed, but a little bit like fearful and worried about your lack of like you holding back. I feel like the swan kind of knew the reason for some of that was because of just the intensity that exists between the two of you. But I think what's really interesting is that the swan was also dealing with lots of insecurities. You know, I feel like the swan was also like, oh, like why isn't pile 2 like, why is pile 2 being kind of quiet? Like, why is pile 2 being kind of reserved? Like, why isn't pile 2 coming out of their shell? And I think that those were things that made them worry, like, oh, what if they're not interested? Or what if they don't like me? But then the swan person, your person, they were like, now, wait a minute. Whether that's true or not, I know I'm worthy of being here. And I think that the swan kind of knew intuitively that your distance or your, like, reservedness didn't have to do with like a disinterest in connecting with them, but rather had to do with, you know, the fear and the, you know, intensity that you were experiencing in the moment. I feel like the swan was having a great time the last time they saw you. And with I'm ready here, I think this is so interesting because the swan is facing the I'm ready card. And it's green, which is representative of the heart chakra. I feel like they were really open to you this last meeting and really just open to whatever was going to happen. And I love that like we have flow with the swan, because I really do feel like your person was just kind of going with the flow and kind of just allowing and accepting for whatever to happen and come through. And I think that the swan person did a really good job of not allowing, you know, their fears and their insecurities and their ego to get in the way of their ability to stay open to you. Because I also think with spirit here, or spirit, they were very connected to the spiritual realms, either usually or when they were with you. I feel like they were seeing the divine truth behind what their ego was trying to show them. And I think the difference between where the both of you were at is that the swan has already had a lot of opportunities to understand how their ego materializes and the illusions behind it. Whereas in your case, it seems like a lot of the illusions behind your ego and its what it's made you believe about your worth and your deservingness of abundance, of emotional fulfillment, of, you know, following your ambitions, of being with people that genuinely love and connect with you, is this idea that, like, I think that this meeting for you was an opportunity for you to even just wake up to the fact that there are things, or there are experiences and people that you've been pushing away, not because you don't want them in your life, but because you've been worried that you're unworthy of them. And I feel like the swan person has done a lot of healing when it comes to those beliefs about themselves. And so they were able to kind of hold space for their own and not allow it to distort their perception or behavior or hold them back. But I also think that, like, they didn't take you being reserved personally, because they could kind of feel that whatever you were, like, dealing with or going through was probably pretty intense, and, like, if you wanted to talk about it with them, you would. But I also think that, like, there was this sense of truth between the two of you, and I think that it's really represented in this golden palace, that, like, I'm hearing that song, I can't even remember what it's called. It was, like, really popular in the 2010s. But it's like the lyrics go like, when I'm with you, there's no place I'd rather be. And I think that they're like, a lot of the abundance that you both were feeling and experiencing was just the joy and good vibes that existed between the two of you. Like, I really do think the vibes here were immaculate. And I think that the immaculate vibes kind of forced the both of you to look at where your egos were stopping you from, you know, taking more risks, being more open, being more vulnerable. And I think that this is a really beautiful thing, because the swan person, your person, was just very open to you and very open to this experience. And, like, they were able to see where their shadows were lying and not allow them to get the best of them. And so whatever you see in the swan that you admire, just know that's where you're heading. Like, yeah, this is very powerful energy. And I think one of the beautiful things is that as you kind of embraced the night, or the day, whenever it was, but I was hearing Dua Lipa, I always call her Dua Peep in my head, dance, like, her song on the Barbie soundtrack that's like Dance the Night Away. I feel like as you kind of just opened up and softened to, like, the truth that this doesn't have to be that scary, that you can just embrace and enjoy the moment, I think you started to open up more. But I do think that there were certain insecurities and fears holding you back that really probably relayed to you, where you've been denying yourself, where you've been quite literally cutting yourself off from abundance and from good energy because you have felt unworthy. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into the tarot now, because I'm really excited to see what the swan was thinking and feeling. I'm going crazy over the fact that these cards are so bent. If any of you have any methods of getting the cards straightened out, definitely let me know, because I normally don't mind if the cards are bent, but these ones are so bad that, like, they can't even stand up on their own, and, like, look at how hard it is to shuffle. And I love this deck so much, so I'm not, like, criticizing it. But I also want to mention, while I'm shuffling, if you're interested, there is an extended, or there will be an extended, and a lot of what we're going to be looking at is, like, how is your person feeling about you now? You know, what intentions do they have? What's next for the both of you? I also didn't mention it in the reading, but I decided to add channeled messages because it's the extended and we like to have fun. So if you're interested in that, that will be linked down below. But no pressure. I am just grateful you're here. Let me give these an actual good shuffle. They're just hard to bend. That's gonna have to be good enough. Okay. So we're going to start by looking at how your person was perceiving you overall. So, Spirit, how was the swan person perceiving pile 2, please? How was pile 2's person perceiving pile 2? We have the 2 of Wands. Can we clarify that? Yeah, okay. I definitely think that they were perceiving you as, you know, it's really funny that this is represented by 2 pickles. Like, I think that the swan person was perceiving you as, and accurately so, putting up a bit of a distance between your heart and theirs. Like, because the swan was definitely in their feelings. They were definitely very much in their truth, and they were just open. Whereas I feel like you were kind of in a more contemplative state of, like, whoa, what's going on here? I feel like this meeting was really like energetically expansive and very powerful for you in terms of like awareness, whereas for the Swan person, it was more like confirmation of things that they had already been aware of, and like reassurance that they're not wrong, and having faith in you. They're not wrong in like believing in your ability to like see your own value and grow like the same way they have. And I think one thing that maybe the Swan wanted to communicate but didn't is they really wanted to talk maybe more about how much of themselves they see in you, and how similar they feel the both of you are. I do think that they felt like a part of you was kind of reserved and held back, and with this Three of Swords, it was almost like they could kind of feel the fear that came from being maybe more open. I think that they could feel that, not only could they feel the vibes between the two of you, but with the Two of Wands being here, I really feel like they could tell that there was a part of you that wasn't fully present, and it's not because you weren't there, it was just because you were clearly integrating a lot of truth. I feel like they were perceiving you less in a like overall sense and more in a just observing the energy that you were in during that meeting, during this last meeting. I feel like the Swan just in general was in a really good vibe. Oh, okay. There we go. So this card just fell off the top of the deck, and it's the Sun. So I feel like, one, in general, they were perceiving you as light, and they were perceiving you as like bringing them a lot of joy. And I think that like your warmth is something very special to them. And actually what's really interesting is that this figure is literally a shadow. And I think that they were perceiving accurately that the instinct and impulse to kind of maintain distance, they were noticing that you were kind of at a distance from them. It kind of seems like y'all were leaving room for Jesus the entire time you were interacting. But they knew it wasn't because you didn't want to be closer to them. It was because it's conditioning. It's your ego. Like your ego is trying to protect yourself from the fear of rejection, from the fear of affirming that you're actually not good enough and not worthy. And I think that the Swan person did not let that get to them, because they were just so happy to be with you and spending time with you. Like with this Golden Palace, I don't really think it could be any clearer. Like they were filled with so much joy just being around you. And I feel like you are a massive light to them. You are someone that brings them so much joy and so much happiness, and you are like the sun to them. So you could be a Leo or have Leo placements, but more than anything, it's just like, I think that you just being around you really made them happy, and any distance that they perceived, they were not offended by it by any means. They understood it to be you processing whatever you needed to process, and just trusting that, you know, whatever you're going through, if they need to know about it, or if you need to tell them, you will. So I want to see what they were thinking about you the last time. Woo! Okay, can we clarify this Eight of Wands? What was the Swan thinking about? Okay, so they definitely felt like, one, I think they were thinking about how much action you were taking. Like the Eight of Wands is all about action. I think they were thinking a lot about like just what was happening in the moment. I think there was a lot of excitement, and I also think that they were trying to stay in control, but I think that they could tell as well that part of you kind of keeping your distance was a way for you to stay in control and to stay empowered. I feel like there was a part of you, like I said, that was a bit kind of more removed, and I wonder if they were thinking about like, oh, like what action are they going to take towards me? Should I take action? But I don't know how much they were really thinking about this, because I think more than anything, they were just kind of like, one, they were in their feels much more than they were in their head. And like, I think that this was really good for them, because one thing you both may share is the tendency to get stuck in your heads. But I think that, you know, your person was very much in their heart. And so I think that they were recognizing like, oh, I can't really control what pile 2 does, you know, if they are
feeling some type of way, or if they're anxious, or if they need to kind of like process things and they need some space, like I'm happy to give that to them. And I also think that they were just like happy to go with the flow. And I feel like this Emperor card is really fitting to your vibe, and this Eight of Wands card is really fitting to theirs. And so I feel like this really just gives me like, I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to be with you, and I'm happy to let you be in control of how much truth we get into, because I think that the theme of truth was very powerful during this last meeting. And I think for you especially, they were thinking about like the fact that I think they could tell that the energy that existed during the last meeting made you feel a bit out of control. And if you are someone that likes to maintain control, I think that they were definitely very curious to know like what energy you were moving through. But I also think that they were very impressed with themselves and their ability to not let their ego and their shadows get in the way of their ability to enjoy their time with you and have fun. But I think more than anything, there was this kind of like, this sense of removal where I feel like they wanted to be closer to you, but because of maybe the distance you created, or also it could have also been like the people outside of you and the desire to not want to like put yourself in a situation where you could not feel in control and maybe do something embarrassing like in your mind. I think that they were considering that as a reason why maybe you were more so removed. But I also like, considering we were talking about that like meeting family and like your parents won't like me example, I wonder if they were thinking about the fact that like with the Emperor here, you know, for your person, like maybe the Emperor is like a fatherly figure, and maybe they were thinking about the fact that you were showing a lot of positive signs towards them, or it seemed like things were going in a really positive direction. But I think that there was less thoughts and more just like them being focused on being in control of themselves and going with the flow, because I think that they were really happy and just really excited to be there, really excited to be with you. There's a lot of fire here. You know, the Emperor is ruled by Aries, Wands are fire, and we have the Sun with Leo. So Aries and Leo energy could be significant. I think both of you were really fired up about this meeting and you were really happy to be there. So I want to see what the Swan was feeling about you during your last meeting. So what was the Swan feeling about pile 2 during their last meeting? We have the Knight of Pentacles. And yeah, there we go. I was like, that's not the full picture. So with the Knight of Pentacles, there was definitely a begrudging patience coming on the Swan's end. But they were not letting, I do feel like whatever ego issues that were coming up for the both of you did inhibit the ability for the both of you to connect. But I don't really think that the Swan person took it really to heart, because I think that this last meeting instilled a lot of hope in them. And you know, the sun is a star, like it's light, and there's so much light here. Like I feel like they were feeling light. They were feeling, one, the effects of their own healing, and two, just feeling very healed and hopeful and excited for the future, like when they were spending time with you, because it just felt good to be around you. But I think with the Knight of Pentacles being here, I think there was this kind of frustration maybe that they weren't able to be closer to you like during this last meeting. I wonder if there was a part of them that was like begrudgingly allowing you to kind of take that distance and take that space and just be patient, because they kind of knew like if you were meant to talk about these things, like the emotions will flow between the two of you when they're meant to. And I think that whatever behavior you were displaying the last time you guys were together, I think that it showed your person that not only are you healing, but their healing has led to a lot of positive progress and a lot of positive growth. I feel like even though, you know, the night may have been very exciting, I feel like they were hoping that things could move forward in a more tangible way, and I don't think that happened. Lemon Grab screams unacceptable condition in the Adventure Time show, and I do think that your person, maybe there were some circumstances that were dividing you and that were really frustrating to them, but they did have to accept it because they didn't want to make it a big deal. Like, for example, maybe there were people getting in the way of your ability to communicate, or maybe you just weren't able to, it seems like the swan person wanted to move things forward, but the flow was kind of keeping them stagnant. But they didn't let that get them down. Like the flow of the night or day or whenever you were meeting one another, it was a flow that even though you may have not been able to move forward after in a tangible way, it was very clear that things are moving in a better direction. I feel like that there was just an awareness on the swan's part that by going with the flow, it will require patience, and it will require like an understanding that how things unfold between the two of you is not going to be as fast moving as maybe they were hoping. Because I do think they were thinking about the fact of like, oh, with this Eight of Wands and the Emperor, like, oh, something like really awesome could happen together. Because like this Golden Palace to me is really showing me that like the time that you were spending together was not only very healing and very fun, but just exciting and empowering and healing. And I think that the swan person was either hoping for maybe more tangible evidence of the fact that you were feeling those good vibes too, or tangible evidence of the fact that you were into them the way they were into you, because they very much were. Like the fact that we have the star here, I feel like they were just seeing all of your light and just all of the wonderful things about you, and just honestly, like they were probably kind of in their hearts a great deal just being like, oh my gosh, like pile 2, like they're so precious, and like I just want to like squeeze them, and I just want to like, I just want them to see how wonderful and beautiful they are. Like on the, like I feel like there was just this real desire, one, to show you that your worth is so much more than what's on the surface, and two, that your presence is very healing for your person, and they want to be able to return that favor. And I also think that they were just very excited about where things were headed, but begrudgingly like accepting the fact that it may move a lot more slowly than they were hoping. And I think it's really interesting because this star card is not on the ground, it's on like a flying carpet. So I wonder if there was this awareness on the swan's end that, you know, even though energy can shift in an instant, it still takes time for the material realm to catch up and show those energetic differences. So I feel like the swan was really feeling excited for the future between the two of you. So I'm really excited to look at like what's going to happen in your extended, because I definitely think they were thinking about what's next. But there was a part of them that was really kind of hoping that it wouldn't take so long to kind of share more light and more healing energy with each other. But I think that they were kind of recognizing like you needed time and space to integrate whatever truths you were coming to, and they were just happy to be there. They were just happy to be with you. And I think that they were really feeling a lot of hope that this energy would continue in the future and that there would be more of it. I feel like there was a fear on the swan's end, like, what if I'm not good enough? Like, what if they don't like me? Or like, what if you don't feel the same way I do? Or what if you are not like, I think the swan was just mirroring the same fears of not being good enough. And I think that there is an impatience with the swan, especially shown in that Eight of Wands, that they really wanted things to move forward and be even more healing and be even more awesome and abundant. And I think there was this kind of acceptance of like, okay, we're only going to get so far during this meeting. I'll have to be patient moving forward. But I do think that they were really optimistic about what the future holds for the both of you. And they were also optimistic about the fact that like this connection is worth investing their time and energy in, and that even though, you know, it may take more time than they would like for things to shift and for, you know, things to unfold the way they would like them to, at the very least there's an assuredness to it. And like the Nine of Pentacles, while it may be the most slow moving knight in the deck, its presence is guaranteed. Like the action that it plans to take, the plans it wants to put in action, like it will. It may take them longer, but it's because, you know, Earth takes time. Earth
takes time to shift and evolve. And I think with this Knight of Pentacles especially, they were really hoping for, you know, maybe something more consistent to be established that night. And I don't know if that happened, but I do think that they were hopeful that you were setting up the foundations for something in the future, because clearly your person was really ready for things to move forward here. They're very sure about how they feel about you. I think that their insecurities were maybe more so lying in the fact that, like, oh, well, what if they don't feel the same about me? Like, what if you don't feel as strongly as I feel about you? Like, that's where your person was at. So I want to now look at how your person thought the meeting went in hindsight. So Spirit, how did pile 2's person, or how do they perceive the last meeting with pile 2, and how do they reflect on this last meeting in hindsight? We have the World. Okay, this is beautiful. So they definitely were very, like, fulfilled by it. I think that they could see this last meeting that happened between the two of you as very significant, and as something that they felt like went really successfully. You know, the World is a sense of completion. And also with this I'm Ready card, this is the Fool. So I feel like they were recognizing how many cycles were coming to a close in their life. And I feel like they were feeling like you both had reached a very positive shift in your connection together. I also feel like with the World card being here, they had like the best time ever. Like the World is contentment, yeah, fulfillment, completion, success, things coming full circle. And I think that a lot of things came full circle. Like there's a lot of circles here. And I think more than anything, they have this fixed perception of the night as things just being very wonderful. And they may perceive that night as like maybe night or day. I keep saying night, so I wonder if for some of you this is night. But I think that they were definitely reflecting just on things that they had learned about themselves through their connection with you, and they were reflecting on how their last meeting with you displayed their own growth. I don't think your person would have asked for anything to be different. And I think the fact that there's like, that the figure in the World card is green, I think is incredibly significant, because it definitely seems like they look back at this last meeting with you with a lot of fondness, and they wouldn't have asked for anything to be different. I think if anything, they just would have been like, yeah, I would have loved even more of it. And I would have loved to spend even more time with pile 2. And I would have loved to, you know, do even more. I think that they are definitely very fixated and focused on you. And if you've wondered or like worried, you know, what if these good vibes don't continue, I would like to reassure you that I think they will. I think that your person has honestly probably really reflected on this a lot, considering the World shows all the fixed signs. I think that they have a very fixed perspective of your last meeting, and they feel like your last meeting was very significant in terms of closing out maybe an old cycle and introducing a lot of truth and awareness and an abundance of good vibes that maybe were not able to be expressed before because the both of you were more fearful and holding back in the past. So this is good vibes. And look, on the back of the deck we have the Wheel of Fortune, which I think is so beautiful. So I definitely feel like there's first of all, we have a lot of major arcana cards here. I feel like your person definitely saw the last meeting between the two of you as being incredibly significant. And I also think that they felt like a lot of things in their life were coming full circle. And I think that they were very curious about how the last meeting impacted you. But yeah, they only reflect positively when they think about their last meeting with you. And I think that they were really satisfied by it. And look what comes off the top of the card. It's the Two of Cups. I definitely think it fell off as I was putting the deck down, and I definitely think that your person felt so like whole having you around them. Like they just loved, you know, being close to you, and they loved being around you. And I think that they just felt like you and them go together like peanut butter and jelly, or I think they just felt like you both complement one another very well. They feel like you connect in a very authentic way. And I think that maybe for you, this last meeting was the realization of, oh wow, we do connect in a very authentic way, and I can't let my ego stop me from being open to this anymore, because I'm denying myself the opportunity to connect with someone who really, really loves and cares about me, which, you know, maybe you guys haven't said those things yet. Maybe you're not in love with each other, but like, I do think that whoever the swan person is to you, like they do have a lot of love for you, and like they do care about you very deeply. And I think that they really want to have a heart to heart with you. And I think that was maybe like their hope for that to happen, because there was so much truth coming through. But I think they were realizing that probably, and maybe upon reflection, they're like, maybe pile 2 like needs more time to integrate awareness. I feel like the swan person is less aware of maybe how you feel about yourself and like your own insecurities with your self-worth, because they see all your light. They see all the beautiful things about you. And I'd be willing to bet it's vice versa. So maybe you were seeing all the wonderful things about the swan, but not realizing like the fact that you were feeling not good enough is not a reflection of reality, but rather just a reflection of how much value you see in the swan, and the lack of recognition that that value is also within you, and that this wonderful like connection is something that you're both worthy of having and experiencing. But you can't have it if you don't believe you're worthy of it. So I guess we'll leave that there. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and finish this reading off with some guidance for you about this connection. So to start, we have surrender your attachment to results. The formula for success is to do all you can to make things happen, then let go of the results. Holding on too tightly to a desired outcome can sabotage it. And I think that that is actually something that your person was doing the night that they were with you, because I think that they did have an attachment to, ooh, what's gonna happen here? Like, and I think that they were really hoping for maybe like tangible confirmation of all these truths that were occurring. But the intuitive awareness that things were shifting, and that like the vibes were good, the both of you were like connecting, that awareness, like the distance really didn't bother them, and whatever was in between the two of you, it wasn't enough to like make them doubt themselves, or make them doubt how they feel about you, or doubt your feelings for them. But I do think that they realized like they're going to enjoy the night less if they're attached to how it went. I said night again, so it must have been night for some of y'all. I must have said the day earlier, and a lot of y'all were like, no, incorrect, it was night. Maybe it was so long it was day to night or night to day. Who knows? But I definitely think that Spirit is encouraging you to let go of outcomes and embrace experiences, especially with this person, because there's a lot that you both get out of just interacting with each other. But we also have present. Yeah, you are able to live in the moment and able to bring forth the energy of love in your current circumstances. I really feel like that's what the swan was doing during this last meeting. And I really feel like the swan was embodying where you're meant to go in terms of being present, and being present with like beautiful experiences that are meant to just open you up to the wonderful things in life. I feel like in your case, what happened the last time you saw one another was an instigation of this energy becoming present within you, where you're starting to realize like just the value of being in the present moment, enjoying the good vibes, and not allowing the fears of your unworthiness or your wounds to get in the way of your ability to enjoy and embrace what life has like right in front of you. And also, I think that these are very interesting, that they kind of go hand in hand, present and surrender your attachment to results. Like, the more you flow with what you're dealing with and experiencing and feeling in the present, the less you will feel attached to the results. Like, sorry, my contact is going crazy. And then I was like burping at the same time. My body was flopping. But I definitely feel like Spirit, if you get too far into like your worries or your fears or your head or the past or the future, Spirit is really encouraging you to get back to the present and your present truth, because that is what will help you stay in alignment with this connection and not allow your fears or uncertainties to get in the way of connecting with your person. Because I feel like
you genuinely, you want to connect with your person as much as they want to connect with you. I think there is a part of you that is just very fearful of opening yourself up to that connection, because what if you do and then, you know, the swan just decides that you're not enough, or, you know, your fears are validated that you're not good enough. And I don't think that those what you're afraid of is not even a tangible reality. It's just a distorted fantasy that you've used to masochistically punish yourself and keep yourself small and hidden, instead of just sharing all the wonderful attributes that you have. And I think that this past meeting with your person was a powerful opportunity for you to start coming out of your shell and being more honest about who you are, what you feel, what you want, and, you know, be more unapologetic about going after those things. But we also have door to spirit, which is crazy because this is 30, this is 32, this is 23. So divine feminine energy, I think, is very significant for you. You know, divine feminine energy is an energy of creation and of healing, of abundance. And I definitely think your person is connected to spirit for sure. And I think this past meeting was a powerful way to help you get open to it. I love the image of the dove and the fact that there's all this gold everywhere, because I do think that gold is very symbolic here. And in your case especially, I think that you're being guided to continue opening up to your spiritual side and the truths that you're feeling on a spiritual level, because that is what's helping you connect to your own sense of abundance. And if, you know, there are things that the swan has that you desire, or if there are, you know, things that you felt like you're undeserving of or that you could never have, it's your connection with spirit that's going to help you realize it's always been possible to have these things. It's just that you had to surrender certain things, like your attachments to results and attachments to the past or future. Like, an excellent example that I can use of this, you know, is myself. I didn't start like a YouTube channel because I wanted to, you know, I started a YouTube channel after I already started reading tarot, and I realized that I loved it and was like, maybe I could help people with this. I never anticipated what it would turn into, but I didn't have any idea of what would happen, and I had no expectations around that. I just created from a place of joy and from, like, you know, the following the flow of where the universe was guiding me. And to be honest, if I had known the outcome of what would happen, it probably would have scared me shitless and I wouldn't have done anything. So I'm kind of glad that spirit didn't tell me, you know, what was going on. But I do think that oftentimes spirit won't, you know, let us know about what's going to happen, because if we knew, we wouldn't take the action necessary to make it happen. And if we were so sure about outcomes and we're so attached to outcomes that we weren't able to be open to unlimited possibilities, we could be siphoning ourselves off from having bountiful, wonderful experiences that can just open us up to a future and consequently a present that is so much more abundant and beautiful than you could ever imagine. Like, it doesn't matter what you have. Like, if you don't have love in your life, you're not abundant. Like, I think Elon Musk is an excellent example of this. I've been reading Walter Isaacson's biography about him, and even though he has so much, like, he's not a happy person. You know, he's very mean, and I don't think he likes himself. And a lot of what he does is trying to satiate these inner, like, chaotic, deeply wounded, like, energies within him that he doesn't really know how to deal with. Like, he may have a lot of money and he may be considered very rich, but he's not an abundant person. Like, he doesn't enjoy his life. He doesn't know how to enjoy everything that he's accrued, and everything that he's accrued has come from a place of lack. And while sure, he has been driven by, like, what he believes to be, you know, his vision of saving humanity, even then it's like he doesn't understand the nature of enjoying what you've created for yourself, of allowing yourself to rest. I'm not here to, like, criticize him. Like, I'm just saying, like, you know, when you look at people that have a lot, you need to understand that that doesn't mean shit in terms of them being abundant. Like, what Elon Musk has is not abundance. He has an excessive amount of shit and an excessive amount of resources that are at his disposal. But he doesn't feel good about, I don't think he feels good about who he is. I think it's very obvious in his behavior. He's very childish and distorted and self-admittedly like has a lot of wounds and is uncomfortable with peace and is uncomfortable with, you know, enjoying things. You know, everybody has different paths and they are the way they are for a reason. But I think that, and if you really want to look at an excellent example of having everything and still having nothing, I think he's a great example of it. You know, I think there are certain things that you know, add to a like abundance, but you know, ultimately he can't even enjoy what he has. So it doesn't matter what you have. If you can't enjoy it, you're not abundant. Does that make sense? It's an interesting, I would recommend if you're interested in reading it. I do think it is quite interesting. But with this Door to Spirit card, you're really just being encouraged to continue opening up to these deeper truths that just reveal more to you about the nature of love outside of yourself and within you. And finally, we have Don't Let Pride Get in Your Way, full moon in Leo. So yeah, I feel like you're really being encouraged to take action from a heart-centered place and not let your ego get in the way of you enjoying the present moment. Like, there could have been a part of you that felt like that may want to take action or may want to do something, but then you hold back because you're too proud or you don't want to be rejected. So I really do feel like a lot of your guidance for dealing with this connection is just, you know, staying present with it, being open to, you know, what, whenever your ego is triggered, what's beneath that? What wisdom could come from this? And also just recognizing that, like, instead of worrying about outcomes, worry about what feels authentic in the moment. Follow where spirit is guiding you and do what you can, and then let go, release it. But also don't let pride get in your way from like taking action and doing things even if they scare you. So pile 2, I'm going to go ahead and move things over into the extended now. So if you want to check that out, definitely please do, because I think it's going to be very interesting. But if you're leaving me here, thank you guys so much for watching. And thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background while you do something else. That is the simplest and easiest way to show support for me and appreciation for me and my channel. So thank you very much to everybody who does that. If you'd like to support me in other ways, you can like this video, comment down below, let me know how it resonates. You can subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. You can also check out my merch. You can check out my social media. You can check out my fat, juicy ass, JK, no you can't. And I think that's it. So thank you guys so much for watching and for letting me read for you. I really hope that this reading helped. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, pile 3. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the amber with bugs in it and the Wizard's Tarot, then this is going to be your reading on the last time you saw your person, the person on your mind. So if you want a full breakdown of the reading, there is one in the intro, but we're going to start by looking at the energy check to see if this is your reading. So I intend for these set of cards on the left-hand side to represent you. So let's look at those first. We have the Owl, a spiritual baddie I see. We have I dream about you a lot, too much. Well, actually, let me shift that. A clairvoyant baddie. You could be clairvoyant and not be spiritual, so let's just make that clear. We have trust and movement, which that's really funny because I had to restart the video because when I literally started it, I said, hi there, pile 2, and then I was like, oh my god, I mean pile 3, and then I was like, sorry, that's my brain. That probably doesn't inspire trust in me. And then I restarted it because I was like, that was a silly intro. But I guess I just exposed myself. But I don't know, maybe there's some significance of pile 2. But the thing about inspiring trust, I don't know, I think is interesting with that coming out. But anyway, these 2 cards are meant to represent the circumstances and energy between the 2 of you during your last meeting. So we have energy field, get back what you put into the universe, manifestation, attraction, momentum. We have the spirit of place. And then these cards are going to be representing your person. If the energies are flip-flopped, then I will warn you that this is going to be from your perspective. So if you want to try a different pile, feel free. But this side, the right-hand side, is your person. So your person is showing up that's weird. I can already tell this is going to be a trippy reading. Okay, we have the Gazelle, we have wisdom, we have freedom, and time to ground yourself. Okay, if you didn't watch the intro, I did warn that the context of the last time you saw them could be many different circumstances, and I think that your group is an excellent example of that. So I think the last time you saw your person was clairvoyantly with your third eye. It could have been in a dream or a daydream, or you sense their energy, but I'm very convinced that this meeting, if it happened in the, like, if you like literally saw this person in person, that was, I sounded so like, if you like literally saw this person, if you saw this person in real life, I don't think that you were interacting with each other, or if you were, it was likely very cordial and reserved. And if you did see them I out in the wild, I wouldn't be shocked if it shocked you. Maybe that was something you were manifesting, or maybe that was something you weren't expecting. But whatever the case, it seems like in this last meeting, there was a lot happening for you here. And your person, let's start with you and I'll get to your person. So I feel like the last time you saw your person was either in a dream, or the last time you saw them physically, you were feeling a lot of energy. I think that this person seems to be, or at the very least their energy seems to be connected to you in an empowering and an inspiring way. You know, the owl is a representation of things like abundance, good fortune, beauty. The white owl specifically is associated with the goddess Lakshmi, and you know, she's all those things and more. So I definitely think that your energy is naturally in a good place already. Even if you have your moments, like I think that you're in a place right now where things are really good for you. But I think that there's some challenges with embracing your authenticity that I think the Gazelle person, your connection with them plays a role in helping you embrace that. But I really think the last time you saw them, like I said, either was in a dream, or I think that this is something that you may be feeling more than seeing. Like maybe you see aspects of the connection or signs about it a lot, but I feel like no matter what, the connection you have with this person is inspiring you to trust yourself more, is inspiring you to trust in your relationship with the universe. 7's a very spiritual number, so I wouldn't be shocked if your person is, or at the very least their energy or what they mean to you has been something that has helped you not only awaken to your own gifts, but also share them with the world in a way that's authentic towards you. I wouldn't be shocked if you're in a place right now where you feel more optimistic about where you're moving, even though you may not fully understand why you feel called to do certain things. I think it's really cool that with this movement card, you know, it's kind of squiggly and all over the place, and there's this magic wand. So it kind of reminds me of magician energy, and I wouldn't be shocked if you have been focused on manifestation or focused on just embodying the energy you actually want to receive in your world. And I think you've been learning to surrender the chaos of how things move and flow, especially the things that you can't control. And I think one of the things that you can't control is the energy, the influence of this person on you. And it seems like you've learned to accept that because this influence seems to be more than positive. It's a loving influence. But here's the thing, and this is what can get confusing about energy, is I don't know what your relationship is with this person, and I also don't even know what the degree of the connection is between the two of you in terms of how much you know each other. Like, for example, these two people could be literal strangers, but that maybe that haven't even met yet, but you feel each other. Or, you know, this could be someone that you haven't spoken to in a really long time, but you feel them all the time, and you see them in your dreams and you feel inspired by them. This could be someone that, you know,
you want to know more deeply, but you feel overwhelmed by the energy between the two of you, or maybe there is some blockage that prevents the both of you from being able to interact more. But it's really interesting because the both of you are faced away from each other and you're looking ahead. So I definitely feel like no matter what, if you're not connecting in the material realm or like seeing one another in the material realm, that's not necessary to benefit from the love that exists within this connection. And I think that you are starting to pick up on that and integrate that and understand the wisdom this is trying to show you. But I do want to mention that if the last time you saw them was in person or online or something like that, I do think there was this extra degree of, I don't even know what the right word is. I'm scanning through my brain thesaurus and nothing feels right. Maybe that's it. Nothing feels right. Like, if you've seen them, if the last time you saw them was in person in some way, I do think that there is a part of you that is trying to understand why you feel the certain things that you do. I think there's a part of you that's done lying about the importance of this person or the importance of your connection to this person. And you can have an important connection to someone and not be where you want to be with them, or not understand why things are the way they are with them, but still be willing to surrender and move through whatever is asked of you. And I feel like that is kind of an energy that you've been in. And I wonder if the last time you saw them, especially if it was in a dream or through energy, it really helped you gain more confidence in the work that you've been doing on yourself, and confirm that, you know, this person is not being put into your life or into your thoughts or into your dreams to torture you. They're being put there to show you something about yourself that you've needed to see. And I think that you're starting to see through a lot of the illusions that you've believed about yourself, and in turn illusions you've believed about this person and believed about what you're capable of and what you're here to do. I think you're learning to start trusting yourself and trusting where you're taking action from a place of intuition rather than strict plans. If you did see your person in person and they saw you, because the one thing that I'm curious about is I don't know if your person was consciously aware of you seeing them. And it makes me wonder, like, if their energy, if they were showing up to you as a wise and empowering presence. But I have a hard time believing that whether the last time you saw them was in person or not, or, you know, psychically, if it was in person or if it was psychically or through a dream, whatever it may have been, I do feel like even if your person couldn't pick up on the semantics of what was actually happening, I do feel like they were picking up on your energy, or an energy that is wise and loving, and it was assisting them. So this is the cool thing about like having an energy connection to someone, especially if it's a loving and empowering one, is you don't even have to be engaging with them or interacting with them on a physical level in order to receive and benefit from the connection. And so I feel like, you know, even if your person wasn't in the room with you physically when you saw them, it didn't stop you from seeing the truth with your third eye. And I feel like your person was affected energetically by whatever occurred between the two of you the last time you saw each other. And really what happened the last time you saw one another was your authenticity, like the theme of authenticity, was put into question. And something about your connection to this person and their connection to you that has caused the both of you to really question who you are, what you want, and what is true to you, what is authentic to you. And I think one of the things about authenticity and finding what's true for us is less about, you know, picking things and more about being expansive and accepting what does feel right, what does feel loving, what does inspire trust, what does inspire faith. And I think that both of you are learning very important lessons about creation about creating from an authentic place and taking action from an authentic place, because both of you are in masculine energies here. And that doesn't mean that you both, you know, are masculine people. It just means that you both were embodying this energy the last time you saw one another. And you're air and they're fire in this case. And it seems like your person, whether they were consciously aware of it or not, received some sort of downloads from you or from your higher self or from your energy that really helped them recognize where they've been holding themselves back. I feel like your person holds themselves to very high standards, and I feel like they are very hesitant to relax. I think that they have this kind of hypervigilance about them that while they may be really talented or graceful or seem to do things very well, they're incredibly hard on themselves. And so I think that they, whatever happened the last time you saw them, I think that you provided a much needed energy for them to remember the truth of their human existence and the truth of why it matters that they're here, why it matters that they share themselves with the world, why it matters that they create. You know, with this time to ground yourself, I think that your person has really been trapped in their head and in fearful energy. And I think that your influence really helped them let go of a lot of what was keeping them stuck in their head and keeping their creative energy stuck within them and keeping their ego from allowing them to step into more authenticity. I definitely feel like it's so cool how the yellow and orange are here, and then with the wisdom, it adds this purple, and you're coming in here with this owl third eye energy and this energy field. It looks so similar to this purple. I really think that the last time you saw them, they may have not seen you, but they did benefit from you seeing them, and they felt the benefit from that. And whether they were consciously aware of it or not, their higher self was certainly grateful, and your influence definitely helped them ground. And it was kind of like a shift in awareness of, I haven't been here. I need to get back to work, or I need to start embracing life or enjoying life or sharing more of myself again, you know? In the words of our Lord and Savior, Janis Joplin, freedom is just another word for nothing left to lose. And I think that your person has been really stuck in lack mentality and in fear. And if you have been struggling with that, then, and you've shifted out of that recently, then take it as confirmation that you've helped them do the same. So I think that this is really beautiful energy, and I'm definitely really curious to get into your person's energy, because this is definitely a case where I don't know, based on these cards, if they were consciously aware of you or not. And maybe for some of you it was different. Like maybe, you know, for a portion of you, you saw them in person, and while there may not have been words exchanged, energy could have been exchanged. Or maybe you felt them in a way that you couldn't quite understand. I guess the point of what I'm saying is because this is a general reading, I don't know the degree of familiarity that you both have with each other, because you could literally not know who the other is and still feel them. Or you could have had a very in-depth relationship with them that the both of you have moved on from, or that the both of you, you know, are not in anymore. Like there's such a wide range of energies here. So forgive me if the energy resonates and I just haven't said the semantics of your situation. Please take this as your message and fill in the semantics for what works for you. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into the tarot. And I think that one of the cool things is that this deck is so fitting for you guys, because I almost felt resistance to putting this deck in the video, because it is such a trippy deck, as you can see, and I was like, well, I don't know if that's going to translate well, but it was clearly meant to, because it seems like the last time you saw one another, it was a trippy situation. And the fact that we have the Wizard's Tarot, and I was picking up Magician energy in your pile, and you have this magic wand here, I really do feel like
the last time you saw them, you got energy moving for the both of you, and it allowed for a positive shift to help both of you empower yourselves by stepping into your authenticity more and attracting more of what you both want in the world. And I think what's interesting too is in this freedom card, the trees are connected by a rainbow. And I always see rainbows as love. And even though the trees are separate, like their roots maybe, I wonder if their roots are connected. I don't know. But it's almost like even though there's space between the two of them, they're still connected by love. And I love that. So, with that being said, let's give this one more good shuffle. Okay. Spirit, how did pile 3's person perceive pile 3 the last time pile 3 saw them? The questions get meta sometimes. We have the Hermit. Ooh. Oh my gosh, you guys. Whether they knew it was your energy or not, best believe they felt the effects of you seeing them. With the Hermit card being here, I don't think they saw you physically, especially because this Hermit's eyes are closed, but they felt you and they needed you to see them because you helped them with an inner shift that they needed. They perceived you through their inner world. The Hermit. The Hermit is, you know, all about isolation, the inner world, going within, inner wisdom, inner light. And the number 9 could be significant. Virgo energy could also be significant. So take that as it resonates. But if your person does know who you are, I do feel like, especially, I do feel like they were missing you. And they were like feeling your energy and your energy. And if they know you or know you well, the thought of your energy was really inspiring to them. And not the thought of your energy, the thought of you was really inspiring to them. And it could be that your energy inspired them to think of you, but maybe it's like kind of a which came first, the chicken or the egg. Does it really matter? And I think in their case, they were perceiving you through their energy body and through their energy senses. And I think it really helped them go within and recognize where they've been holding themselves back. So that's really beautiful. So in that case, what were they thinking about pile 3 and pile 3's energy? What were they consciously thinking about pile 3 and pile 3's energy? We have the 6 of Swords. And see, here's the thing that I don't know. Like, this alien has 4 nipples. Is YouTube gonna punish me for that? I don't know. So I gotta find something to put on here. It's fucking annoying. Like, it really is. Like, it's just titties. Get over it. And also, if you have a problem with swear words, I'm sorry, but that's not gonna change. Either get over it or accept the fact that it's gonna happen with peace and love. I try my best, but I can't be perfect. Oh, I don't like how reflective that crystal is. And I was also holding it, so maybe I shouldn't use that. All right, let's put this dinosaur there. That'll work. Okay, dude. Ignore the swear word rant. Most of y'all get me. Most of y'all out here are like, girl, we don't give a fuck either. And I'm like, exactly, because you are my people. Anyway, I love you. Like this card says, I need to move on. And in your case, what they were thinking when you were seeing them was the fact that they need to get moving, that they need to get up and ground so that they can keep moving forward. And that's so cool because your energy is literally movement. So they were picking up mentally like, okay, hey, whoa, I'm really stuck in whatever I'm going through. I really need to ground. I really need to let go of the past, and I really need to move forward. I definitely think too, what's really cool about this spirit of place is that
even in this card, one, if you guys did see each other physically, I wonder if it was outside, or if the dream that you had about them was outside, or if you felt them while you were outside. Fall could also be significant, but I do think that even the fact that like the elf-like figure in here, her back is to us, but her eyes are kind of like looking a little bit. It's like neither of you may be consciously acknowledging each other or consciously even understanding why you're experiencing this, but you're still benefiting from the energy that's being exchanged between the two of you. Like your backs are connected, right? And that exchange of energy is helping the both of you. And so in your person's case, they were like, I really need to get moving. I really need to stop sitting in stagnancy and stasis and just start moving forward. And I feel like they, you know how sometimes someone will you'll just like magically get the answers to something that you've been wondering for a while, or all of a sudden you just know what you need to do. That is oftentimes you getting downloads or wisdom. And that can come from spirit itself. You know, if you ask for help, maybe they're receiving it. You know, it could be someone sending it to you, someone helping you. But, you know, I talk about being a medium sometimes, not all the time. And one thing's for sure is that you don't need to be a medium in order to get messages from spirit. We all do it all the time. And we all are messengers for spirit all the time without us even realizing it. And so I definitely think that whatever lessons you've been learning about yourself and have helped you trust yourself, your path, and where you're moving more, and also trusting your dreams, and especially if your dreams have something to do with them, or if your dreams are intermixed with them, it was like you accepting that part of your path and integrating these energies helped send over to your person the necessary wisdom they needed to start trusting themselves and move forward and not be stuck and so fearful anymore. And I don't know what this fear and stuckness was around. I think it's bigger than any one thing, especially because it doesn't seem like there's much going on physically between the two of you. It seems like a lot of what's going on is energetically, and that is just as real and valid as a physical connection. I mean, energy is always here. Matter can't be created or destroyed. It can only be transformed. And in your case, I think that whatever is going on here, it's benefiting you and your person. So I want to see what they were feeling, because they were definitely feeling you the last time you saw them. So this is so awesome. Okay, so like there's half an areola. What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to know? And it's a blue areola. Like, I love it. I love the blue areolas. It's a beautiful art piece. But I'm tired of being censored by corporate bullshit. A titty's not gonna kill you. All right. I grab two of these guys and, well, okay. You can still see. You know what these two lovely ghoul ladies look like? They look like Sherry and Terry, the twins from The Simpsons, like the little purple twins. It's kind of what they made me think of. But this is the star. Literally, like, what were they feeling when they felt you? Hope, faith, healing, excitement for the future, light, love, blessings, abundance, like everything that they needed, they were feeling from you. They were feeling like everything is gonna get better, everything is gonna be okay, like I can see where I'm headed now, I can see what I need to do, and I can trust in, it's like you help them remember that they need to trust their true north. And if that's something that you've been doing, like you help them do the same, and that's just like so awesome. And I also am called to notice that, you know, both of these twin monsters, they have these like horns. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit you.
you both have open third eyes for sure. And I think that theirs had been shut down by fear. You know, I say all the time, anxiety is the cock block to intuition. And so I think that whatever you've done to uncock block your own brain and start listening to your intuition more, it's helping them do the same. So keep going, keep doing it. And if you guys do know each other, which I would be, I mean, it would be weird if like you didn't know each other at all, but it depends on the level of familiarity that is between the two of you. And that is what I'm not getting. And see, here's the thing, level of familiarity, that is a broad term. You can be very energetically familiar with someone and not know a single thing about them. You know what I mean? You ever just meet someone and you're like, where have you been all my life? Like, you feel like family, but you're like, I have no clue who you are. Like, I just met you. Like, the level of familiarity between your human selves, I am not able to discern. But the level of familiarity between your souls, y'all are thick as thieves. And this is beautiful. This is beautiful energy. And if you're trying, and if one of the things you're manifesting is engaging with them more, being with them in the present more, like, I do think that the healing that you're doing is helping them do the same. And that is something that can happen, especially because we have these, you know, these twin tittied beasts here, which they look so great. I'm sorry I can't show it. The artwork in this deck is so cool. And it just like makes me so mad that YouTube censors stuff like this, or like will punish me if I don't censor it, when in reality, like, you have no problem showing obscene amounts of violence and like just sharing the absolute worst things, and like that has no problem. But a nipple, oh my God, call the police. The nipple police should not exist. Anyway, now I want to look at, okay, so the next question is how they thought the meeting went in hindsight. And the truth is that we don't know if they even knew the meeting occurred, but they still felt it, right? So what I want to ask is, what do they know? Okay, I had the idea and then how do they think the meeting went in hindsight? How would they describe the experience of this meeting if they could? So how did they perceive this experience? How much did they consciously know? We have the Hanged One, or Hanged Man. I'm so used to it being the Hanged One in so many decks, I forget when it's the man. But no nipples, so we're good. I definitely think that, here's what I'm struggling with, because I'm getting multiple interpretations. The Hanged Man typically represents surrender and looking at things differently. It's Pisces energy all the way. And it's stuck energy, right? But I'm having a hard time intuiting if the way that they perceive it is they perceive it backwards to what truly happened, or whatever this shift in energy caused, whether they know you were behind it or not, because I don't even know if you know you were behind it. You know what I mean? For you, it may have just been a powerful dream or a powerful experience that inspired this shift within you. And you may have no idea that it affected them this way, but it did. So if they were consciously aware of it, I don't know if they've seen all of it. It depends on how in tune they are with their spiritual side and how much they are able to be discerning about the energy they're picking up on. What I can safely say for everyone here in terms of how they would perceive this experience, a very powerful shift in energy that forced them to surrender to reality and see what is instead of what has been, and stop lying to themselves. I think there was a part of them that was in denial about their feelings or their experiences around their situation. Like the energy that I was getting is that they were really stuck in fear, and I think that they were so rooted in it they couldn't even see how it was holding them back.
And I think that it's almost like getting a powerful push from the universe that forces you to let go of what you were holding on to and recognize where you were holding yourself back. I definitely think no matter what happened, it's sorry, I'm burping. They released a lot of negativity that they had within them during that meeting, because I just burped like 70 times. And I don't, okay, guys, I'm fine. Like, I don't burp at the frequency outside of readings that I do when I'm here. So I love you. Thank you for your concern. But like, I promise I'm fine. Don't worry. Oh, and also, not only is this, dude, this actually might have been so significant that it woke them up to something spiritually they weren't aware of before. Because if you look at the Hermit, its eyes are closed and there is no third eye here. But in the Hanged Man, all three eyes are open. So no matter what, whether they know how much you were involved in it or not, they acknowledge this event of you seeing them as a reality shifting moment that forced them to let go of what wasn't serving them and completely flipped upside down the truth, what they thought was the truth and what actually is the truth. And I think a lot of it has to do with personal development. A lot of it has to do with self-love. A lot of it has to do with creation, creativity, unconditional love, the nature of humanity and what's possible. I feel like both of you are waking up to your excellence, which, like, thank God. We need more of y'all to be doing that. But I definitely think no matter what, they may not have they may not know exactly what happened and why, but they certainly felt what happened and it changed them for the better, and they recognize that. Like, I guess the best way I can explain it is, you know, feeling an earthquake but not understanding why tectonic, like not even knowing that tectonic plates exist and that they're the cause of them. It's like feeling the earthquake but not knowing the mechanisms of the earthquake. Does that make sense? It's like that. Like, it's and an earthquake, like, most of the time an intense one's gonna be unmistakable. And I think that is like the energy was so intense that, like, that experience is unmistakable, but I don't know how many of them know or understand why that happened or what caused it. So with that being said, I want to get a message from their higher self to you before we look at, because we are going to look at, like, their feelings towards you and things like that in the extended. We're also going to look at, like, the action they plan to take, their intentions towards you. And this is really interesting because I guess there's just going to be multiple interpretations. I don't know. I guess you'll have to wait and see. That'll be linked down below if you're interested. But I guess I'm going to add the question of, what would the gazelle's higher self say to pile 3? Or what does the gazelle's higher self want pile 3 to know about their connection to the gazelle and anything in general? Ah, we have the Chariot, which I love. So I feel like their higher self is really wanting... Ooh, and that's number 7. Ooh. Okay, I don't know if some of y'all got chills, but I did. They want you to know that you're, first of all, doing amazing, sweetie. And second, on the right track. No matter what stories you're telling yourself about where you're at, what things are, or what the connection is, or what everything means, they just want you to know that everything is okay and you're doing great. I see these little eye bats as, like, your guides. And I also think that one thing, I think that you guys have a lot of guides watching over you. And I feel like their higher self is watching over you. And their higher self could have been part of what helped you facilitate all this healing energy and all these inspirations. Like, maybe it's their higher self that visited you while you were sleeping, or it was their higher self that, like, that was contacting you or pulling on your energy to help you see something that you could then help them with. Like, there's so many different things here. And the only reason why I'm not talking more about, like, the physicality side is because I don't know the degree of which it was there between the two of you, and it's the least important part of what's going on between the two of you. Like, the last time you saw them was energetically, and even if you saw them in person, it was the energy that mattered. And in your case, like, the fact that this Chariot, 1 is a motorcycle and 2 has
one eye open and one eye closed. I feel like their higher self wants you to know that you're only seeing half of the equation, and the only equation that you see, and the only half that you're seeing is your own. And I feel like they're trying to remind you that you don't know the magnitude and effect of what your light and what your awareness and what your healing, your success and your victories, like, you don't know what that effect has on your person. And I promise you, it's not a bad one, it's a good one. They want to remind you that, like, just because you can't see what's happening doesn't mean that nothing is happening. And I also feel like they want you to know that I'm hearing the song Born to Be Wild. And I think that you're really being encouraged to just keep moving forward, full throttle, keep going for what you want, and keep trusting this movement. Like, the fact that you had movement here in the Chariot's all about that, and it's movement towards success. It is movement towards abundance, and it's nurturing energy, it's expansive energy, and it's great energy. I feel like their higher self is encouraging you to keep up the momentum and keep doing what you've been doing that's been helping you move forward, that's been helping you feel good, that's been helping you trust. Like, look at how similar. What the fuck? Dude, this is why I love mixing decks. Look, how could these two deck creators have ever known that they would make things that look so similar but have such different energies? You know? Like, there's so much magic in this, and I love it. And I think that there's so much magic in this connection, and both of you are learning how to harness it, you know? And in your person's higher self's case, they want you to continue, just keep doing what you're doing, and quit telling yourself stories about what's actually happening, because with peace and love, you don't know the full truth. And I wonder if this reading is maybe a good example of how things are occurring even if you can't see them or you're not being told about them. Does that make sense? But we're going to go ahead and finish the free reading off with some guidance for you towards this connection moving forward. So to start, we have surrender your need to always be right. Wow, their higher self was really like, I know you're smart, I know you're intuitive, but you don't know everything. Surrender the need to be right, because being wrong could actually feel so right. You know what I mean? Like sometimes when we're doing what we think is right, I'll use me as an example. I literally pulled 2 cards for myself last night, with the first question being, what do I think I need to do? And the second question was, what do I actually need to do? And the first card I pulled was the Creator. The second card I pulled was the Shaman. And the Creator, and it made so much sense, because I was like putting so much pressure on myself to finish this video, and it was overwhelming me and stressing me out. And then I look at, and that's not, and creation rooted in lack, rooted in stress, rooted in I need to do this, like, that's not genuine creation. Like, it's not the vibe. And when I read like the Shaman card, it was talking all about how, like, you know, it can't be rushed, and it's an embrace of wholeness and stuff like that. It was the vibe for what I was actually going through and what I needed to hear. And it was very affirming to know that, you know, the program in my mind that's saying you need to do this, you need to get this done, that every fiber of my being was resisting, because it's like, bro, we're tired, like, we need rest, we need to just, we need to wait. That the power of the mind really gets in the way of my ability sometimes to rest and trust in what I need to be doing. And I think that is something that you are learning, and I think that Spirit is encouraging you to continue doing that, because what it's doing is leading you to greener pastures, and it's also helping you be open to more insight that maybe you've missed in the past, because you've had a set idea of what something means or what something is or what you believe, and it's stopped you from getting information that could have been useful to you. So surrender your need to always be right. Give others the gift of letting them be right. Be yielding, not rigid. This will help resolve conflicts and improve your relationships. We also have spontaneity. You move beyond the constraints of, oh my God, yes, see, I love this. You move beyond the constraints of the mind and freely and lovingly embrace new situations. Guess that's going on top of the die now. We also have the World. Okay, so I definitely think that this is a sign that you are closing out old cycles. I actually just want to read the World card in this Oracle deck, because I feel like there's probably guidance and insight in there that I'm not getting. So,
Well, first of all, before I do that, there is a big one, and that is just because you are at a distance from someone physically does not mean that you are at a distance from them energetically. And I think that Spirit is really encouraging you to understand, like, you guys aren't even separate at all. You're on the same planet. Like, you're in the same womb. Like, you're exactly where you need to be. You're fine. And I think it's important to remember that, like, our limited perspective as humans really gets in the way of our ability to trust and also recognize that, like, things flow perfectly and we're not out here all on our own. But I do think that you are unaware of a lot of what happens on your person's side of things. Like, it's interesting how this is your side, this is their side, and that half of the world is dark. The right side of the world is dark and the left side is light, your side. So I definitely think that part of the guidance here is surrendering the need to know, because there might be insight coming to you that you're missing because you're uncertain. But let's look at the world. Expansion, opening up. The man in this picture is looking out over a bay above which the beautiful sphere of the earth is rotating. This card is reminding you to expand your vision, clairvoyance, and contemplate some much broader options. The world is wide, and there's a lot out there to consider. In the modern age of technology, this could specifically be referring to creating or expanding to a more global network through the internet or social marketing. Drawing this card also lets you know that you have unlimited resources available to you. Now is the time to think big. As they say, the world is your oyster, so get ready to gobble it up. And I think that's the biggest thing here is, like, you believing that you are correct about outcomes, you believing that you know what is going to happen or that certain things can't happen is stopping you from actually making what is meant to happen. Like, oftentimes when we trust our hearts, we are led to dreams that we couldn't have even envisioned for ourselves, but that are better than anything we could have. And by you opening up to your intuitive abilities and trusting them and following them, you are moving yourself there. And it's a beautiful thing. But finally, we have luck is on your side with new moon in Sagittarius. So I definitely feel like you're being encouraged to take risks, do things that feel right to you, follow the vibes instead of strict plans, and be open to what all of this energy is trying to teach you, because I would not be shocked if you see this person psychically or in person through all of these shifts and changes that you're going through. So pile 3, that is where I'm going to leave this reading. Thank you guys so much for watching and for letting me read for you. And also thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background while you do something else, because that is one of the simplest and easiest ways to show appreciation and support for my channel. So thank you to everyone who does that. If you would like to support me in other ways, you can like this video, you can comment down below and let me know how it resonates. You can subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. You can check out my merch, you can check out my candles. Be sure to use code ASO10 for 10% off. You can check out my Instagram, which is like my only social media. And yeah, I think that's it. Or the extended, they're the shit, they're fun. And I can show nipples and swear all I want. So that's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for watching and for letting me read for you. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, pile 4. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the Bismuth alien head and the Trippin Waite tarot, then this is going to be a reading on the last time you saw your person. So we're going to go ahead and start by looking at the energy check. If you want a full breakdown of the reading, there is one in the intro, but my intention is to have your energy on the left hand side, your person's energy on the right hand side, and the energy that existed between the two of you during your last meeting in the middle. So starting with your energy, we have the mouse. We have I want a fresh start with you. We have make. Okay, my Dutch friends forgive me for my pronunciation, but we have gezellig and unity. Did some of you watch my union reading? I hope you did. You should if you haven't. Looking at these two cards, these are going to represent the energy between you and your person. We have alien planet, make yourself at home, adaptability, change, originality. Move this.
I'm probably going to be moving this around a lot. We also have Peaks of Joy in reverse. And then your person's energy, we have the Hyena, we have Tribe, we have Love, and we have Waite. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Where do I even start? I guess I want to start with your energy, because it really seems like this last meeting for you was something that you've really been wanting, and I think that you were really excited for. And I wanted to say I think your nerves got the best of you, but I don't think that's true. I think that you were very nervous, and as a result, maybe you didn't I just noticed, alien planet, alien head, aliens must be significant. But I can tell it seems like you were a bit more reserved the last time you saw your person, and it seems like maybe you were consciously trying to make yourself smaller, or you just felt really nervous and really focused on making things work, making things like right. Maybe you were overly self-conscious about like how you were appearing, who you were interacting with. I think there was a part of you that was so afraid of looking dumb, or so afraid of making the wrong move, that maybe you didn't make many moves at all, or maybe you were just kind of reserved. More than anything though, it seems like you were very excited for this meeting, and it seems like you were hoping for this meeting to be the first of many, and something that kind of established with this Hyena person, your person, that you want a fresh start with them. So it does sound like there is some sort of history between the two of you, and it does also seem like for the both of you that there is some level of familiarity and a level of love between the two of you, even if you've never said that towards each other. One thing that's really interesting is, the mouse card is definitely the most negative of all these cards. And the thing is I wouldn't even say it's negative. I think that whatever environments you were in, can I just say, like, I'm breaking the fourth wall for a second, because your guys' energy feels so cozy. Gezellig. Okay, there is no direct English translation to gezellig. My Dutch friends or Dutch-speaking friends, I'm relying on you. You may do a better job at explaining it than me, but the way that I understand it is like, it's like a much more expansive version of cozy. Like, cozy, I don't think is maybe intense enough or expansive enough to describe it. Like, my understanding, gezellig can work in like many different situations. Like a place can feel gezellig, but like you could also experience gezellig like with your friends at the same time. So this card has actually come up before, and I really didn't know how to explain it at the time, because like even when I googled it, it would be like, well, there's no direct English translation, but it kind of means like coziness, like togetherness, things like that. But there is an episode of Ted Lasso where they go to Amsterdam, and and they actually talk about this word in one of the scenes. So if you are curious about this word, you may want to check that out. But maybe there's also confirmation that like maybe you're Dutch, maybe this meeting was in the Netherlands or something like that. Certainly doesn't have to be, but overall it seems like not only were you embracing this time despite any nerves you may have had, but it seems like there was this beautiful feeling of togetherness where you were just really happy to be with everyone. I don't feel like it was just you and your person. I feel like, especially not considering we have Tribe, and then we also have like Make here with all these hands, and Alien Planet and Peaks of Joy, being a 33. I definitely think the both of you were in a group setting, and I think that you specifically were trying not to concentrate all your energy on your person. And I wonder if that's because you know how like when you really want something, you almost kind of push it away, or pretend like you don't, because like you don't want to look desperate, or you don't want to appear too eager.
I definitely think that you were in that energy, and I literally forgot to break the fourth wall. That's how deep in channeling I am. But I just wanted to say that your energy is so calming, and like I feel so calm as I'm giving this. And so what's really interesting here is that even though you're showing up in this nervous energy, it seems like the energy for everyone else around you is quite calming, and that's interesting because like I've just been anxious in channeling recently, and it's really nice to feel a calming energy. I think that there's just a lot of anxiety in the collective, but understandably so. And yeah, I just wanted to tell you how nice it is to sit in your energy and how lovely you feel. And I would be willing to bet that your person feels the same way. I feel like you were rolling with the punches of whatever the last time you saw your person. It seems like you were hanging out in a group together. That is the vibe that I'm getting. And I wouldn't be shocked if you were in different places, considering we have Alien Planet, make yourself at home. You could have been at one of your homes. You could have been at multiple places. You know, I just heard the word pregame. Like, so there could have been multiple different places that you went to, or like, the time that you spent together could have been over an extended period of time, and so there were different circumstances, but the overall energy that was between the two of you was one where I think both of you were feeling a bit out of place, but ironically there was this beautiful sense of togetherness in terms of your dynamic. But I think both of you were dissatisfied about how this meeting turned out, and I don't think it had to do with either of you. I think it had to do with circumstances outside of you, and also the circumstances that you both were dealing with individually. With the peaks of joy here, I think there were both things that you were hoping to happen that maybe didn't. I'm hearing like could've, would've, should've. And in your case, I feel like you were so nervous and maybe like focusing on certain things, like, you know, let's say if it's directed on yourself, what you would have been focused on is like, oh, is my posture okay? Like, you know, am I standing in a way that doesn't look like insecure? You know, what's going on? Like, who's around me? Like, I definitely feel this kind of mousy energy from you. I wonder why. It's almost like this card's in front of my face. I feel this energy of you that's kind of like meek, and I don't think that that's accurate to who you actually are. I think this was your shadow on full display. I think that, you know, you feel a lot smaller than you actually are, in the sense of like, when I say you feel smaller, like you feel less than or less impactful, or maybe you know that you have a lot of power and you are an impactful person, and so you intentionally try to make yourself feel smaller to help others feel more comfortable. Especially with this mate card, it's like you're trying. I think you could have actually been focused. I just heard the word host. So if you were like hosting people or something like that, I feel like you were very focused on everyone. And I think part of that was maybe you trying to not look like so intent on your person. And I don't think that was coming from a place of ego. I think that was coming from a place of just like nerves. And I definitely think that whoever you were with, I do think that you felt very good about being in this group, being in this environment. I think you felt a sense of camaraderie, a sense of togetherness, and a sense of like just being happy to be with everyone. But I also think that you could have been the one kind of trying to make this feeling of togetherness like continue. Or, you know how people have different roles in group settings? You know, sometimes someone's the parent friend, so they're always taking care of everyone. Someone else is like the peacemaker, you know, someone's the leader. And not saying that you have to be in those roles all the time, but I feel like you were kind of in this energy that's somewhat a peacemaker and also somewhat of a like caretaker, where it seems like you were not only like paying attention to what everybody needed, but also I think that it was kind of like a way of you. Not that there was necessarily any discord the last time you saw your person, but it just kind of seems like you were trying to balance out your focus and your attention, and you were just trying your best not to look stupid, which I think which makes me really sad, because why would you even feel that way? Like, I there's really nothing here that indicates that, and I think that really maybe goes to show that to some degree that's how you feel about yourself. And you know what though? It's a vibe, it's a mood, same. I have, like, it's funny sometimes when I'm channeling these messages, because, like, I'll be like, telling you something and I'm just like, I know I need to take that advice too. And so just know, like, I'm not just reading you for filth, I'm reading sometimes me for filth too. But hey, we both can do better, right? You know, awareness is the first step to healing. And I think in your case, there was a part of you that was just like so happy that this situation had happened. Maybe this is something you manifested. I think there was just a part of you that wanted things to be perfect and like wanted to attend to all the details and just wanted to be the best version of yourself. And in doing that, I think that maybe you came off across as a little shy or just a little meek or a little like, you know, reserved. But mice are so cute. Like, oh, dude, I hope you don't see yourself as a pest. Like, that's the thing. Like, you know, mice are so cute. And I think that you may have like worried that if you were just more of yourself, or if you took up more space, or if you know, just kind of embraced the energy that was around you, if you kind of let go. I think there was a part of you that wasn't letting go. It's almost like by being yourself, you were being a pest. And it's like, no. Like, even if you're a mouse, like, there's like the sweetest little mouse, like, you're like Stuart Little, like, and it's just actually really cute. Like, it's really sweet. And I think that you were really cute and really sweet during this last meeting. At least I think that's something the hyena noticed. But between the two of you, I think that you both could have had more fun if you weren't so in your heads, or maybe just like had nerves in the way. I want to talk about your person, the hyena, because this card is so telling, dude. The fact that I'm so glad the tribe card came out here, because this makes it clear. The hands here on your side and the tribe card on this side make it very clear to me that it was not just the two of you around one another. And I feel like both of you maybe relied upon the people around you to kind of like avoid maybe the nerves of directly interacting with one another. Now, I don't think you didn't directly interact with one another at all, but I do feel like the hyena was kind of like salty that maybe you didn't spend as much time interacting with them as they maybe wanted you to. But here's the thing, I see where the hyena is coming from, but the fact that you both are facing away from each other, I don't know if the hyena was also like, I don't know if they were making enough effort to insert themselves in what was going on. Like, I think there was a part of them that wanted you to come to them, and because you were kind of like in this nervous energy, you know, trying to attend to all these different details and you know, you were focused on a lot of things. It seems like maybe one of the things you didn't notice was that your person like wanted more of your attention. And so I think that was kind of frustrating for them, especially in terms of like this tribe card, where it seems like, you know, they loved being with you and in whatever setting you were. Like, it seems like even if you had people around you, like, you clearly felt connected to them, the sense of togetherness, unity, and so did your person. And I'm really curious, like, the fact that you have over here, like, I want a fresh start with you, I wonder if you felt this sense of just like contentment with how things were, because like group dynamics are just as important as individual dynamics. I think you just felt this sense of like, I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to be with my person. I'm happy to be in this group. I'm happy to like have whatever is going on. But I think there was a part of you that couldn't let yourself fully enjoy it and fully let go because you were like nervous and, you know, just being a silly human. And that's so real. So for the hyena person, your person, I definitely think that they were a little bit insecure as well. And, you know, the hyena talks about like humor, sarcasm, wit. So I feel like your person was definitely I wonder if they were almost creating distance to overcompensate for like the fact that they wanted to be closer to you. Like almost kind of moving away from you because they wanted to confirm that you were interested in them by like moving closer to them. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a little bit of game playing, but it wasn't from a place of ego. It certainly was from a place of love. And, you know, obviously I don't know what your dynamic is previous to this meeting. It's obvious there is some history here, considering we have I Want a Fresh Start. I definitely think your person felt the same sense of like belonging and community that you were feeling when you were together. But I do think there was a part of them that was maybe frustrated that they couldn't get as close to you as they wanted. But I also think at the same time they were overwhelmed by like the love that they were feeling for you. And I don't know if this is something that they have told you. I would actually probably doubt it. And I feel like there was a part of them that just wasn't ready to even broach that subject. Like, especially if this is a newer situation, like coming together. You know, if you were thinking about wanting a fresh start and your person is like, you know, unsure of where they're at. Because I feel like you are probably energetically in a more powerful position than your person is in the moment. Because I think that your person definitely let their insecurities get the best of them more so than you did. Because there's still these like little rainbow dots here. I feel like you were acknowledging even where maybe you were letting fear get the best of you. But I think that you kind of didn't let that stop you from trying your best to enjoy things. I think you did. It's just with this peaks of joy here, I think there were just frustrating blockages that for whatever reason, whether they were internal ones or external ones between the two of you, that stopped the both of you from connecting more. And also I think there was a part of you where there was an aspect of this last meeting where both of you felt this sense of like you were out of place in your environment. And so, but at the same time, it's like, even though maybe you both felt that way in the same environment or in different environments when you were together, whether it was one environment you were in or multiple, it seems like they felt this sense of togetherness around the fact that they felt as weird as you. And like with the alien head here and alien planet, I think there was this sense of like, oh yeah, like maybe you both resonate with, you know, being black sheep or something like that. Maybe you're both like black sheep of your family, or maybe you both are just oddballs, you know, which I love to hear. As an oddball, I love to know that there are fellow oddballs out there. So shout out to all the oddballs, you know. Oddballs, get loud in the comments. And I think I think there was this this feeling of like both of you were passively maybe waiting for certain things to happen, and neither of you were picking up on maybe certain cues the other was trying to give, because both of you were very tuned into your own experiences, distracted by the environment around you, and also like nervous. And for the hyena person, the last time that they saw you, I don't think that they were prepared for the level of emotion that they were actually overcome with. And I think that they maybe more so than you felt this sense of like, I don't know if I belong in your world, meaning you, pile 4, I don't know if I belong in your world. And I think that you were probably, I don't know if you noticed that, but I do feel this vibe like you were trying your best to make it clear that they are and that you want them here. But I do feel like they were any frustration that they felt, I feel like they didn't want to show it, especially not to you. It kind of seems like they were definitely trying to play things cool and not let you see that like there were things that were frustrating them. And I don't think that it was you that was frustrating them. I think it was people in the group you were with, or circumstances around the meeting that were frustrating. But I also think with this Waite being a number 7, I'm pretty sure, I can ask her, but I think the 7 is the 7 of Pentacles. I would be willing to bet, and that's the one I'm getting, so I'm going to go with that. With the 7 of Pentacles being here, you know, maybe,
I just heard I want what you have. And so there could be something that the hyena person wants for themselves that they feel like they need in order to be more worthy of love. And like, that's a problem because love isn't something that you earn. Love is something that just is. And I think that your person was maybe feeling like, I need to improve. I need to get better. I need to hustle. It was like kind of the vibe that they were getting. I think there was a part of them that maybe wasn't ready to open up or admit to them being wrong about certain things. And I wonder if those things are about you or about assumptions that they had about your role in their life. Like, I think that they were not prepared for the level of like overwhelming love that they had for you the last time they saw you. And I think that they were definitely not going to show that, but I also think it kind of disarmed them. I don't think that they were expecting to feel whatever they felt. You know, love is such a it's a big word and it's a loaded word and there's a lot there, and love is felt and expressed in so many different ways. And I really want to, I'm trying to like feel into what they actually felt. And first of all, I just feel like warmth all over my body, and I just feel this sense of like, it's like the same calm that I was feeling as I was starting this reading, and I was just like, ooh, like, who is this? Like, she is so calm right now. And it felt so good. Like, I don't know, I think I need to take a page out of your book, pile 4, because the vibe was so calm, which I think is kind of ironic. Like, I think sometimes we can make other people feel calm, and then on the inside we're like, you know, that picture of the dog that's, you know, sitting in like a burning house and is just like, this is fine. But I think in your person's case, I think that they were definitely being a bit of, if this was like a party situation or something like that, I wouldn't be shocked if they were trying to be the life of the party or just like trying to be fun and keep things light. Like, I definitely think that your person, whatever frustrations were there, they were not directed at you, but there could have been frustrations directed at themselves. Like, I wish I would have done something differently. And I think they also could have been frustrated at all the people trying to get your attention. Like, maybe I feel like there's a part of them that really wanted you to kind of chase them around. And I think they were frustrated that like you couldn't even, like, that couldn't even have even happened because it seemed like people were occupying your time or you didn't notice, or, you know, just different things were happening. And so they were like definitely not happy with that. But I definitely think there was a patience with them during this last meeting where they were like just kind of going with the flow and seeing what happened. But I also think that there's kind of this energy of determination from this last meeting from your person where they're like, I think there are things that they can't wait to show you. I'm really excited to get in your tarot because it seems like this meeting was really significant. But with the Peaks of Joy card being in reverse here, I do feel like the both of you were kind of letting your shadows get the best of you. But even then it like wasn't bad. Like, I think even your version of what I'm calling letting your shadows get the best of you is very, very mild and tame. Like, oh, I'm holding back because I'm nervous, and oh, I'm keeping things lighthearted because I'm frustrated, and I'm overcompensating for the fact that I have all this I have all this unresolved emotion that I'm repressing. And I think that the hyena person was definitely repressing their feelings of love for you. And I think that this last meeting kind of confirmed for the both of you that you have a very special connection, and that there is this sense of just feeling at home with one another. You know, the Unity card being a rainbow is so beautiful. If you want to hear a little secret, my next candle is going to be the Lovers, and it's like white and rainbow themed. And I think that the rainbow is like just such a perfect representation of unconditional love because it represents so many things, and all the things it represents are symbols of love and representations of love. And you know, a rainbow is the whole color spectrum, and white itself is all of the colors mixed into one. I feel like in this energy, there was this vibe of like, even if I'm nervous, and this is me channeling you now, even if you were nervous, even if things don't go the way I want them to, I'm going to enjoy this moment and I'm going to make it work. I have been binging Project Runway, and so
all I hear is Tim Gunn in my head being like, make it work. Designers, make it work. You have 5 minutes. I love that man. Anyway, I definitely think that there was a lot of love here that both of you were feeling for each other, and that both of you were embracing about like, oh, it's so great that we're here. It's so great that we're together. It's so great that we have like all of these, you know, memories that we're making. But you were really nervous and like, oh, I hope I don't mess anything up, and I hope I don't look stupid, and oh, I hope that I'm not coming out like, you are giving me vibes of like, I'm in my villain era, but it's like your villain era is setting boundaries. Like, I definitely think that you were probably like, oh, I just didn't want to be annoying. And it's like, I was afraid to express my personality, which like, mood. I get that. But in your person's case, I think the frustration was with the fact that like, 1, there was a lot of feelings that they couldn't express, and 2, I wonder if there was some frustration at the fact that they even felt those feelings, because like, depending on what your history is with them, you know, maybe they weren't anticipating to be ambushed with so much emotion. I definitely feel like they were not wanting to tap into that energy. Like, well, and the thing is that it's not like they needed to tap into it in order to feel it. It's like they were feeling that anyway. It's almost like trying to suppress a Diet Coke bottle full of Mentos, like trying to hold it down. Like it's gonna explode at some point, but they were keeping it contained. Like it's almost like they knew to keep the Diet Coke and the Mentos separate that night, because if they had put them together, it just would have all come out. I feel like they knew it wasn't time yet to like talk more deeply or share deeper feelings, but I definitely think that they were only feeling love for you. I mean, they could have felt love as well for like their environment and for the people that you guys were with as well, but I think that the love energy was very much concentrated on you and on their feelings for you, and I think that they were very overwhelmed and intimidated by that, and so that did make them feel like they could have been doing the same thing as you and like really, you know, relying on the group to kind of dissipate some of that energy. But so overall, it seems like this meeting was one where it was overall a very beautiful time. I just think that both of you maybe felt out of place and a bit insecure. And I also think both of you, you know, did your best to embrace the moment, but there are also like frustrating setbacks or maybe just personal insecurities that came up for the both of you around like belongingness, deservingness, what is thisness. And I think that in your case, you were like just open to whatever was going to happen because you want this fresh start, and your person was like taking everything in and also being like, okay, I want to play this night by ear. I want to see what's going on. And also like, I need to stay in control because this this feeling of love, I don't think that they were necessarily anticipating how intensely they would feel when they were around you. Sorry if I sounded weird there. I was burping. But with that being said, while I'm shuffling, if you guys are interested, there will be an extended to this where we're going to look at how your person is currently feeling now. We're going to look at a lot of questions like their current intentions towards you, action they plan to take. The extendeds have been really fun. Pile 3s is like an hour and a half because I couldn't stop rambling. But even the shortest ones are like 40 minutes, and my extendeds are always super long, and they're literally cheaper than a lot of cups of coffee, like $4. Like Starbucks could never, especially not in this economy. So if you want to check that out, that will be linked down below. And also the intro has everything that is in it. We're also going to see what action you should take. I didn't put it in the video, but I do add channeled messages because I can't not spoil you guys. So if you're interested, that'll be linked down below. But maybe I'll just do one more good shuffle. But we're going to start by looking at how your person was overall like perceiving you that night. I feel so strong. Like, I just shuffled that like such a big, strong man. I know all of you are like so impressed by my big, strong muscles. Anyway, how did pile 4's person perceive pile 4 during their last meeting? Well, that flipped out, but then it went right back in. We have the 9 of Wands. I'm not satisfied with that. Give me one more. We have the Tower. Okay. Ooh, interesting. So I definitely feel like your person was picking up on the fact that you seem to be kind of keeping your distance from them a little bit. Like it almost seems like, okay, there's a projection game going on. So the interesting thing here is that, and this might be a fault on me because this is how I asked the question, which is how did they perceive you? And when I'm in their perception, I don't know if their perception of you is objectively just how they were seeing you or how they were seeing you through the lens of your history. So in terms of how they were seeing you, I definitely feel like they felt you were a little bit tired and maybe like you kind of had your guard up. I think they noticed that you were nervous, and I think that part of them wondered if that was because of them, which it very well could have been. But I also think, and I do think that that was a factor in that, but I also think there was a part of you that was just a little bit frazzled and a little bit like kind of having your guard up and like I don't know what word I'm looking for. But I'm trying to find the word that matches the feeling that I'm getting, and I'm not finding anything. The overall vibe was definitely like just trying to get through it, which is ironic because I don't think that that was your vibe. I wonder if that was a bit of a projection. But I also think with the Tower card, I think that your person was, one, seeing you through the lens of your past together. So I think that they were maybe extra sensitive to any distance you were putting up between them because they were feeling like, oh, they don't trust me. Oh, they don't. And maybe you don't. And if that's the case, like, maybe you have every reason not to. Like, when it's coming through their perspective, just know whatever I'm saying is not necessarily an endorsement of what they're saying, just their perspective of it. If anything, my bias is usually towards the viewer, which I try to mitigate, but I can't help it. I love you guys. In the Tower card, though, I definitely feel like they were viewing you through this lens of like, wow. If you've had any Tower moments with this person, they were reflecting on how much you've grown since then, and also just, I think that they were shocked at the depth of your wisdom. I think that you do a very good job of keeping people out and consequently keeping people unaware of what's actually going on underneath you, beneath you. Underneath you. What's going on underneath you? Maybe this person was insecure, like, about who you're sleeping with. If you slept together, I don't know if you guys slept together. It doesn't, I wouldn't, I mean, if you did, like, yeehaw. Get that, physical intimacy. But, the vibe that I'm getting is that there was this kind of, like, awareness with them where they knew you were cut from the same cloth, and whatever has happened between the two of you in the past, I think that they were really like bewildered is the best word I can say in terms of what they were learning about you during this meeting. I feel like they were shocked at your depth, and I feel like they were almost anticipating some sort of fight or argument or behavior from you that they didn't get. Like, maybe they were expecting you to be more sassy towards them, or maybe they were expecting, I don't know what they were expecting, if I'm being honest, but this Tower card is so interesting because I've never actually seen a Tower card where it's depicted underwater and the people aren't falling, but instead they're mermaids swimming. Oh, maybe one of the things that they were perceiving about you that night was the realization that they've been missing out on a lot because they've been withholding not only themselves from you, but they have taken maybe your barriers as a sign of disinterest, when in reality, maybe those barriers were just an equal amount of like protectiveness and uncertainty around your connection. With the Tower card being here, I feel like they realized that night that you guys were cut from the same cloth, you know, and you both have the ability to dive deep. And I definitely think that they were feeling this sense of like, whatever had happened between the two of you, they were accepting of it because it had led them to this awareness of how deep your connection is and how deep it goes. I feel like they were really surprised at how powerful the energy was between the two of you, even just in a platonic setting. Even though there seems to be a romantic context between the two of you, it seems like the vibe was a bit platonic, at least keeping things that way. I feel like they were perceiving you as being a bit hesitant and a bit wary and a bit nervous. I feel like they could maybe pick up on the fact that you didn't entirely trust them, or that you were a little bit like wary of what they were going to do. But I also think that they were very intent on showing you a side of them that was less immature. I think they wanted to show you that they could dive deep with you, or either they wanted to show you that they could dive deep with you, or this last meeting they realized that you have the capacity to dive as deeply as them, if not deep, more, even more so. And I think that there could have been some frustration on their part that they wanted to dive deeply with you, but it seems like there was resistance there. And I don't think it was because you were resistant to it. It seems like because of the factors around this situation, and also it seems like this person was resistant to that. You're showing up in an earth energy and they're showing up in a fire energy, and that doesn't mean that you have to be like an earth sign and a fire sign, though it could be if you want that. But I do think that you were in an energy of being more grounded, more practical, whereas they were in an energy of being more passionate and more like vibrant. And so I think that they were looking at you as maybe trying to kind of hold your own in an environment where maybe you weren't in your element. And I think that there was maybe some frustration because I think during this meeting they realized they maybe wanted to be alone with you in your element. Like they wanted something to shift here. And it's so interesting actually that this Peaks of Joy is like in the reverse. It almost looks like this gal is like swimming with them. And so I wonder if like they were perceiving you as maybe they felt intuitively that like you were hoping for something more deep to happen that didn't happen, or something like that. But I think more than anything, I think they picked up on your hesitance towards them. It's interesting because a lot of what, in terms of how they were perceiving you, it's through the lens of your energy and less so your physical appearance. I think that I guess if you're worried about how they saw your physical appearance, there was nothing to worry about there. Like, that was primo as usual. But I think that they were, more than anything, they really care about what you think, and they really care about your perception of them. So even in their perception of you, it was very intent and focused on, well, how does Pile 4 see me? How does Pile 4 like, you know, do they trust me? Do they hold resentments? Like, there was a lot of uncertainty. And I think that they felt this sense of urgency around the fact that, like, they can't ignore their feelings for you anymore, and they can't ignore the truth. Like, you know, the Tower is also about divine intervention. And I feel like if this person has tried to avoid you or run away from you, I think one of the things that they were perceiving about you that night is that they need to stop being so resistant to you, because the only thing you bring to them is fresh air when they can't breathe, and water when they're thirsty, and like you are what they need. I think they realized. And I think they also realized that some of the aspects of themselves that maybe they thought were solely you, I think they started to realize they have those elements within them as well, or they were learning that. Very interesting. That's definitely the most in-depth answer to this question so far. I definitely think they noticed that you were reserved, though, and maybe if you were tired, I think they could tell that. And I think that they were really impressed with your ability to go with the flow. There was a lot going on within them. I don't even think these cards really touch the surface of that. Like with this Tower card, I feel like this runs so deep. And, you know, the Tower is ruled by Mars,
which is like Aries energy. It can also be Scorpio energy because Mars also ruled Scorpio until we discovered Pluto. So, and I guess it still technically does. But I definitely think that there was a lot of reflection on both of your evolutions. And also I think that there was just some distance between the two of you, not because you want to be distant from one another, but because the both of you were maybe afraid of getting closer, especially if there were people around you. So I want to see what your person was thinking about you the last time they saw you. So what was the hyena thinking about the mouse the last time they saw them? Temperance. Okay. I definitely think one, I love this deck so much, that they felt like you were such a good energy, and like, which I agree, like just sitting in your, like just coming to your reading, I felt so good. They were thinking about the fact that you were so patient, and they felt like you guys were just mixing so well together. And one of the interesting things about this rainbow is like it's inverse, but it's still connected. And so I wonder, I don't know why I'm ending my inflections highly like this. Maybe they thought that like the way you were talking was really cute or something like that. If you were engaged in conversation with like other people, and your person was like in a different point of the room or something, they were watching you interact with people, and I think they were really impressed at your ability to like talk to different kinds of people, or they were impressed by your ability to merge with whatever you were interacting with. I also think, though, they were thinking about the past between the two of you and what that has led to. Like, temperance is a lot about patience, balance. Archangel Michael is usually portrayed in the temperance card. It's also Sagittarius energy, higher learning. And I feel like there was this element of recognizing the fact that, one, your connection is very significant. And the fact that there's synergy between the two of you. And, you know, synergy means that you both are, you know, even better together than you are as individual parts. And I feel like they were thinking about the fact that you guys just mesh really well together. But they were also, like, noticing the fact that you can really mesh. I wonder if you have Libra placements, but they kind of noticed that you can mesh really well with anyone. Libra or Pisces, I wouldn't be shocked if you have either of those. But there was also like a lot of wisdom that you could have been sharing that I think they were very impressed by. Or back to the reflection thing, if they were thinking a lot about that, I wouldn't be shocked if they were really wowed at your process of growth, and just like, wow, like look at what they've done with all this time that we've spent apart. Like, they've grown a lot, they've evolved a lot. But I also think that they just felt like you were very balanced, very graceful. They felt really good talking to you. Like, talking to you made them feel very optimistic and excited. And I also think that they felt like this connection was headed in a positive direction. And I think that there was this aspect of them where they were like, okay, I just want to be patient and go with the flow. And I can't believe it took me that long to get there. Like, there was definitely this go with the flow vibe. And I almost wonder too if they were trying to not think very much. Temperance too could indicate like alcohol. So I feel like they were thinking about, like, I think one thing they could have been thinking about if there was any sort of refreshments, that they were trying to make sure that they didn't overdo it so that they didn't look stupid. But I also think that they were paying attention to you. Like, there was a kind of a protective energy where they were like, you know, they didn't want you to do too much or like anything like that. Like, I feel like they were, in certain ways, I don't think they realized this, like they were kind of being like your guardian and protector on the periphery of things. And if you felt like they were being distant from you, I think that distance was what I was talking about earlier, where they were like wanting you to kind of come closer to them. But in doing what they did, like, even though they were frustrated that maybe you didn't pick up on the hint that they wanted you to like follow them and stuff like that, which like is really silly. Like, they should have just, you know, just hung out with you. But, you know, we're humans, we're all silly, right? they ended up getting to observe you maybe in a way that they hadn't gotten to before. And I think one thing that they realized is just like, wow, like pile 4 has a lot of wisdom to share with people. Pile 4, you know, works really well in a lot of different groups, and wow, pile 4 like really can get along with anyone. Like with this unity card, I think they were very aware of the fact that like you have an incredible amount of patience with other people. You're really tolerant, accepting, open. And I think that's really interesting. And it more so convinces me that they felt like the resistance, like if there was any resistance or boundaries up, that I think that there was a lot of fear that maybe it was towards them because of what had happened between the two of you in the past, or because maybe you weren't as interested in them or something like that. There's definitely insecurity coming up, and they were definitely perceiving you through the lens of their insecurity. So how are they feeling about pile 4 the last time they saw them? Whoo! Yeah, that makes sense. They wanted to BONE. Let's clarify that though. Okay, this is very interesting. Yeah, so their fears were definitely getting the best of them. And you know what's so crazy too is because I'm so glad that this love card came out, because I feel like these cards would be indicating a very different thing. I mean, obviously the cards are secondary to the energy that I'm feeling, but they, one, the last time they saw you had to face a lot of awareness that maybe they had been ignoring. It's like they had a hard awakening the last time they were with you, where they realized where they had been unfair to you. I think there were things that they negatively projected onto you that were not the truth, and that night they realized that, and they felt this reality of like, oh, my feelings for pile 4 aren't going anywhere. I feel very attached to them. And I think that they were also feeling this sense of like, I don't know if I want to deal with or address what's going on internally. I think they also could have been feeling heartbreak over the fact that, like, depending on what happened between the two of you, maybe they were like, how could I have done this to you, pile 4? How could I have seen? I think there was a part of them that felt ashamed for assuming certain things about you or believing certain things about you, when in reality those were negative projections and they weren't the truth, and they saw that the last time they were with you. And I think that was very painful for them, because one, it hurts them to recognize where they've been unfair to you and they've been holding themselves back. And for some, I don't think this will resonate for all of you, but I think that there was a realization, like I just heard the word unfaithful. So maybe for some of you, this person was unfaithful, but I feel like for others, I think they realized that when they were with you the last time, that they're unfaithful to their heart, and that causes them a lot of pain. And there was this awareness the last time they saw you, like the truth is so loud at this point. Like, I can't stay attached to what's holding me back. And I wonder if there were people in your environment that made your person realize, like, oh, these are influences I need to cut out. I would not be shocked if you have been physically intimate with them. I do think that they were really feeling that hard. Like, they really wanted to, well, I think they wanted to feel you hard, if you know what I mean. Of course you do, because you're an adult that is watching this. I know that you are above the age of 18, because if you are under the age of 18, you should be living your life and not watching tarot readings. I love you. Please come back when you're older. But go live your life. Don't worry. You're doing great. Just be 14. I'm not saying that, like, I assume that the you watching is 14. I just am constantly in fear and this fear is valid and real. There are 14-year-olds watching this, as much as I don't want them to. 14, they know everything, so it doesn't matter what I say, you know. But I love them, and because I love them, I want them to leave until they're old enough. And I wonder if me going on that little segue is something relevant here. Like, maybe in the past the age difference was maybe there's an age difference between the two of you, and maybe it was like something where you just, neither of you were mature enough yet. I think that there was kind of this realization of like, I think that they were kind of heartbroken on an ego level, realizing like, well, no, I think it's deeper than on an, because ego doesn't involve heart. So I think that I think they were heartbroken to kind of realize like maybe where they have been holding themselves back and justifying it from like past pain, and then realizing that they've been cheating themselves out of life. It seems like you played a very powerful role, not in what you said, but just in your being and in your behavior. And I think that's a very real thing. Like, energy really doesn't lie. It doesn't, I think a lot of times it doesn't matter what we're saying. It's the energy underneath it. And I think that this person realized, like, I think that they assumed negative intention around you in the past, or just assumed things about you that weren't true. And I also think that they made justifications for certain behavior because it was like, well, you know, I'm hurt, so I can do this, or like I do this because like people have hurt me in the past. And they realized like, wow, that's not a good excuse, especially if they hurt you, because I think you embodied behaviors that they themselves have pushed away because they have been under the assumption of like, well, you know, this is just the way I am. I do this because I'm in pain. When in reality, like there's always the option to heal. I think they were feeling the genuine desire to actually heal. And I think that there was kind of this like come to Jesus moment. Wow, which is like really interesting, because I think that they were really hiding a lot the last. If you feel like your person was just like vibing, chilling, having a good time the last time you hung out, there was a lot going on underneath the surface. And I think that they kind of had this come to Jesus moment where they were like, I'm really done letting my bullshit get the best of me. With this devil card, I think they were realizing like, and I love this devil card, by the way. Like, this is such a cool version of it. I feel like they were realizing just, I think the truth was kind of glaring. And one of those truths was the fact that like they have been avoiding their feelings for you and they can't anymore. And I think that I think there's painful feelings around maybe past behavior or past events that they didn't know any better when they did them, or they weren't aware of things, or they were, you know, in shadow. And I think that the last time they saw you, they felt this real urge and need to like, I need to do better. I need to show, you know, pile 4 that I can be better. And I also think that there was just kind of this, I think that they were upset that they didn't get to spend as much time with you as they wanted to. And I think that they wanted to be closer to you. I think they desired more intimacy with you. That didn't happen. But I think at the same time, they weren't trying to push it or force that, because the amount of energy that they were processing and the amount of feelings and realizations, like the last meeting was the meeting of realizing things, I think, for both of you. And in their case, there was a lot of powerful truths that I think were uncomfortable to integrate. And I think that there's also like certain things that your person, like, they were becoming aware of, like, oh wow, I did this thing and it wasn't fair to pile 1, and like pile 4. I felt that's so funny, because I almost said pile 1 like twice. I'm like, no, this is pile 4, say pile 4. And then the minute I'm off my guard, I say it anyway. So maybe for some of you, pile 1 is significant. But oh, okay, so I just remembered pile 1, because this is a very different energy from pile 1. But in pile 1, there is a theme of sadness and loss between the two people involved. And I wonder if there's any connection there, which I wouldn't know. I wonder if like there was someone else's sadness that like kind of got in the way of their ability to connect with you, or that was really frustrating. Like, I almost feel like some of what made this person frustrated was not circumstances outside of you, because like it seems like the vibe between the two of you is really good, but we did get, you know, internal and external frustrations. I wonder if there were people outside of you that were really leaning into their devil energy, in the sense of like, you know, partying really hard and, you know, maybe having an outburst of emotion, or shadows coming out. I feel like they were seeing their own shadows, where they needed to heal. I think they were feeling probably remorse for anything that they've done to you in the past that they feel like wasn't fair. But I also think there was this awareness of like, oh no, I feel very attached to pile 4, and that scares me because now I have to let go of the ego responses I've created around not wanting that or not needing that or whatever. I think that it was heartbreaking for their mind to realize the truths in their heart. And while it was like liberating and freeing to feel that, there's also a recognition of what they're still attached to. And there was a desire to be like attached to you that did not happen, which I think was very frustrating for them. I also think work could have played a role in this. Like, they could have felt like, in a lot of ways, maybe they've been too attached to their work, or maybe they have been focused on the fact that like, maybe they were really focused on like work in general. Like maybe they feel like they need to make more money or something like that, like in order to be worthy. There's just a lot going on within them. And it's honestly, like, I'm not gonna lie, like sitting in their energy, it's kind of draining. And I think they were kind of realizing too how many people around them were draining their energy, because they didn't feel drained when they were around you. But I do think there could have been people in their environment that they realized like were kind of draining their energy. Or if it wasn't in their environment, like around you, then it was a realization of like when you were around them, you gave them the contrast they needed to realize that like there are people in their life and in their environment that make them feel really drained. So a lot of powerful realizations. But overall, I like, this person knows that they love you. Like, I think that it's more so like all of the stuff that they don't love about themselves that they're looking at and being like, okay, how do I heal this enough to not let it be something that stops me from being open to pile 4? So with that being said, I want to look at how they perceive the night in hindsight and like how they thought, well, the meeting. I don't know if it was during the night, but Spirit, how did pile 4's person perceive their last meeting overall? Like in hindsight, look at that. Another card jumped out and went back in. So I definitely think that like, I hope you come to the extended for those of you who can, because I think that there's a lot here. Like, we're going to look at their feelings and their energy towards you. I feel like there's a lot underneath the surface that the cards are like not giving credit, like that we can't do justice in this reading because like there's only so much amount of time and energy. But I also think that like there's just a lot they've been processing and a lot they've been realizing and a lot that is much more a them problem than something they need to tell you about. But I feel like that they're almost, the last time they saw you, they felt this like, I'm gonna have to tell pile 4 the truth. Like, and I think the truth is something to do with like how they actually feel about you, or you know, where they had you wrong or where they unfairly misjudged you or something like that. Because I think that they also maybe want to explain that like if they acted like an asshole in the past, or if they were ever unfair to you, I feel like they also want you to know that like they understand if you don't believe them, but they loved you then too. They just didn't know how to love themselves enough to be open to what you had to offer. And I think that there was this kind of awareness in their thoughts, at least, that like everything that has happened between the two of you has happened for a reason. And I also think they felt like maybe being attached to you wouldn't be such a bad thing. But there was a part of them that was very afraid of it. But Spirit, how is pile 4's person reflecting on their last meeting with pile 4 in hindsight? 6 of Swords, that's beautiful. And the 7 of Pentacles again. So I definitely think that overall they felt like the last meeting between the two of you was positive progress in the right direction. They felt like you guys were moving towards more peaceful waters and moving away from the past. They felt overall like the last meeting was movement in the positive, in a positive direction. Not only helping them move forward, but also realizing too that you have moved forward. I feel like maybe some of their resistance towards you has always been fear that maybe you weren't over like what happened between the two of you, whatever that may have been. And I think they realized that like you want to move forward just as much as they do. And I think that they also realized, like,
I love that rainbows are everywhere with this unity card and this being here. I feel like they felt relief. Like whatever toxicity was in your environment the last time you hung out, they realized that you weren't the source of it. And that if there is sources of toxicity, it's either within them or around them or both. And I think that they became aware of where they needed to work on that and where they maybe needed to make some changes in their life. I feel like they were really ready to move forward, and I think they view this night in hindsight as a beautiful, as like, one, I don't think that when they reflect on that night, they think of one memory. I think they reflect on like the whole meeting itself and how things evolved. But I also think they feel really good about where you guys are at now, or they feel really good about this meeting and feel like you guys are headed in a more positive, peaceful direction, and in a direction that is healing. And I think that in hindsight, they are looking at this meeting as just being very healing and worth it. That's the vibe I get, worth it. So we're going to go ahead and finish this reading off with some guidance for you when it comes to dealing with this connection. So to start, we have surrender to silence. In quiet meditation or contemplation, let go and enter the stillness within. Silence can heal and replenish you. So I do feel called to say, like, if some of you are worried about like what's going to happen next between the two of you, you can check that out in the extended. That is what we're looking at. But I completely understand that for some of you just don't want to, and for others, like, that's not accessible for everyone. So I feel like no matter what you need to know about what's next in terms of their behavior is if they go silent or if there is a lull in communication, when you fall into fear around that and you're like, oh, should I do something? Should I not do something? That's when you want to go within and start listening and ask yourself, like, is this fear? Because here's the thing, if you're meant to take action, you'll feel called to, right? And I think that's a lesson that you both have been learning. But I also feel this message that, like, if your person, like, goes silent for a bit, it's not because they're, like, ghosting you or anything like that. It's just because they're processing things. I feel like there's a lot of energy that they're processing. And actually what's really wild is, like, in the progression of doing this reading, I started feeling, like, very peaceful and calm, and I ended, now I'm feeling kind of drained. And that could just be because I've been sitting in energy and channeling for a while. But I do think that, like, there is so much energy being exchanged between the two of you and the external factors around you. I do think that maybe both of you are dealing with more fatigue than usual. If you've been more fatigued since your last meeting with this person, I wouldn't be shocked if they have been too. I don't know if either of you have been very productive since your last meeting, because I think the both of you have kind of been in these, like, these, like, lovely vibes of, like, oh, like, I saw my person, and, like, it was so nice to see them, and, like, I'm, like, grinning from ear to ear right now, just feeling into your vibes. And so I feel like whenever you're getting worried or nervous, like, whenever you're overthinking or questioning something, you're really being encouraged to go within and ask yourself, like, is the thing I'm thinking really true, or am I just afraid? You know, and I think here's the thing too. If you've had a past with this person, it seems like for some of you, the worst has already happened, like, especially with the Tower card. So you really have nothing left to lose. Like, if something bad happens, which I don't think it will, but if it does, you will be fine. Like, you've already faced this and handled this. But I don't think that'll happen. And I think that if you are prone to, like, worst case scenario thinking, I would really encourage you to maybe try to rein that in, because it could impede your ability to just enjoy the flow of this connection and impede your ability to actually follow intuitive guidance, because you're getting in your head and you're getting nervous. We also have humility. You've developed the loving awareness that you and everyone else are the same, but on different paths. So I definitely think that you're being encouraged to be humble. Sit down, be humble. And if you already are, then you have no problem. I think, though, that if you ever get in this energy of feeling like
why aren't things going as quickly as I want them to, or why isn't this certain thing happening? I think it's interesting that that this humility card is so similar to the background colors of the devil. I feel like you're really being encouraged to not beat yourself up, and also like pay attention to the fact that, like, you know, people can project and people can assume things. I think it's really interesting that humility comes out here. I feel like if anything, the only thing you wouldn't be humble about is like maybe you think you know what your person needs to do or what needs to happen. And I think the universe is asking you to trust that, like, if your person needs like space, like that's not, you know, a slight on you. It's them processing things. Like if you feel like things should be moving faster, maybe question yourself and be like, do I really think things need to be moving faster? Or is that just my anxiety wanting to move things forward, or my uncertainty and fear of things falling apart, wanting to make sure that they aren't? Like, I think that there does need to be a little bit of like surrender and trust in just what's happening. But we also have the 7th chakra with Archangel Uriel. And I think I'm just going to read the card for that because, one, Archangel Uriel is watching over this connection. And when I think of Archangel Uriel, I think of success. So I love that because that just makes me feel even more convinced that like whatever is meant to happen with the both of you in the near future, like you guys are headed towards a more successful path. The fact that this is about the crown chakra, I definitely think you're being encouraged to continue deepening your faith and feeling into, or deepening your spirituality and feeling into your truth, and not letting your eyes deceive you. Spirit connections, intuition, inspiration. The beautiful angel Uriel, also called the fire of God, wears a brilliant crystal crown. Ha! Slay! Same. I love wearing crystal crowns. Vibrating with a passionate, sorry, I missed that because I just got excited. I was like, slay, we wear the same things. Wears a brilliant crystal crown, vibrating with a passionate connection to the divine. She brings great power to your 7th energy center, which is called the crown chakra and is located at the top of your head. This card upright indicates an open, free-flowing channel of information and inspiration from the wonderful beings in the spirit world. This could also be a time of great intuition and guidance from your higher awareness. So allow yourself to quiet your mind and listen. So yeah, there's a lot here where Spirit is saying, like, we're here to give you advice, but if you assume what you think needs to happen, or if you make assumptions about things like that get you worked up or get you emotional, or get you out of like a state of being that's centered, like that is going to create frustration and unnecessary energy and block you from your ability to like trust your intuitive guidance. Now is a great time to get connected. The assistance from Spirit is great, and whether it's the presence of an ascended master, a powerful angel like Uriel, or just a loving friend or family member in spirit, their love and willingness to assist is always there. They even open you to the Akashic records, the storehouse of all information. This connection is open now, and you will find that your own spirit and the spirits of those around you will be able to provide the answers you seek and the blessings you deserve. So I feel like that is a wonderful sign. Like if you feel the need to call someone, or I guess I meant to say pray, but I said call. So maybe if prayer is something that makes you uncomfortable, which is totally okay. I know everyone has a different relationship to it. Think of it as like calling Spirit, like texting Spirit, you know, in your mind or with your words. I also think though, if you feel called to call your person or, you know, anything like that, do it. I think that when you feel inspired to take action, don't let fear get the best of you, because I think Spirit is just trying to open and expand this connection more. And I do think that there is a spiritual connection here. But finally, we have prosperity lies ahead. And the fact that this is about this connection, and that's the guidance for this connection, I feel like Spirit is really saying, like, be open to the prosperity that lies ahead. Don't let your fears get the best of you, and, you know, just flow and see with what is. Like, don't try to control the situation, because I think that it's going to turn out better than you could even imagine it. So pile 4, that is where I'm going to leave this reading. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background while you do something else, because that is one of the simplest and easiest ways to show support and appreciation for me and my channel. But if you'd like to do that in other ways, you can check out the extended. You can comment down below, let me know how it resonates. You can like if you haven't already, and leave a little subscribe if you would like to join our fun little fam over here. You can check out my candles. I have an Archangel Uriel candle. Well, it's technically, well, my candles come from my candle maker and friend Maggie, who is incredible, and she makes an Archangel Uriel candle, but you can use code ASO10 for any candles, for 10% off any candles on her site. So just know that if you're not into the tarot candles, but if you like the angel candles, or like, for example, I have one going right now that you can't really see called like Banish. You know, there's lots of different ones that you can check out. You can also check out my merch and my social media. But that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for letting me read for you. I hope that you enjoyed this reading and you got all the messages you needed. I can't wait to see some of you in the extended. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye!